You smoke Igbo, you drink whiskey, you visit Joe Colombo. You smoke Igbo, you drink whiskey, you visit Joe King Jaguar.
Blessed be the holy and undivided Trinity, now and forever. I beg. This no be the time today. Ask me where I been there all this while. This no be the time to argue with you whether the coronavirus can smoke me out of my hiding place. Now something way day very important make me come out today. You see, not be all of us go make am and see this new world where go come after all this coronavirus thing. You talk say no be your portion. You be child of God, Abi. Oh, I forgot. My bad. You know say I be pastor. As you see me so, I don't bury many children of God since this thing come start. So make you stay there, they deceive yourself. Now you be the only child of God, and you be the first one we don't catch him. I want to give you a tiny glimpse of how the world will be like after this thing don't end. Just in case you know they're around to see him. You talk say to fear what? Me too, to fear what? So after this thing don't end, when you and Papa want buy private jet, make sure say he buy airport can join him. Airport where no country fit close. And to buy airport where no country fit close, your papa will need to own the country. Okay, maybe an island could do. No more talk say my doctor there for London since 1973. My doctor there for New York since 1990. You must make sure say when it happened, say your doctor there for your island where you don't build your own state-of-the-art hospital. Because if your doctor there for London or New York, the fit no go let you fly in, pick him up on your way to your island. And when you buy that second phantom, make sure you buy ventilator add on top of it. Because if you, Black African, they stop for Budo, when the time comes, make Oyibo doctors choose who go get the last ventilator where they're available. At that time, you will say you be ordinary Negro. Yes, for your children, when they go school for the big universities, and they talk of them Harvard and Oxford, make sure say they know they stop there when the thing happen. At least you want make all of you not there for one room when the end go come. My people, na so rapture go be. Only say that one go happen at the same time all over the world. If on the other hand, you they pay your tithe and offerings, JJ, your name they up to date for my church's book. Now if they say you they lucky, I go plead for you. When you get up there, I go plead for you up there. Now what thing I want tell una be that. So make una hurry up, come balance una book. If you want be new member, come quick, you never late. You fit use Zelle or Cash App or PayPal. All of them na at Very Reverend Otondo. We do open 24 hours every day, just for you. May God hear our word. Hello.
Or are you still okay? Why? Why do you do bad things? Yes, you. Why does such a nice fellow like you do bad things? Blessed, do you want to know? Oh, I say unto you, don't think I don't know. If you know it, it means that I know it too. If you do it, it means that I do it too. Brethren, don't think I cannot handle it, knowing that a nice fellow like you do bad things. Heaven knows I can handle it, for I am also a nice fellow who also does bad things. Beloved, I won't look at you any differently because you are not any different from me. at the Sea of Galilee, I acknowledged it. I need help. And verily, I said unto myself, I'm seeking help. Do you think? But do you think you need help? Or are you still okay living in deceit? Blessed. Do you want to face yourself for the very first time? Do you? Can you stand yourself if you take your makeup off? Can you take seeing your embarrassment up close and personal? Can you stand your secrets splashed on the front pages of the newspapers? No? Yes? Oh, righteous brethren. Do you know who you are? Do you know why you behave the way you behave? Do you want to know? Really? Sure? Be honest now. Take heed. Let us explore you. Let us juggle your mind, your treasures for the kingdom to come. And I say unto you, what is the dark side of you? Yes, you. Again, do you care to know? Or are you committed to burying it deeper and deeper in the wilderness? Do you wonder why the deeper you bury it, the more it floats up in the air, like subconsciousness often does? Great one. Are you tired of walking with your deceitful heart? To ignore the nursery where all the weeds of the Pharisees and the Sadducees grow, the weeds that kill your plants? If you're tired, let us explore you. Rise and shine. What hurts you more? A cut from 1,000 knives, or is it a cut from 1,000 words? What pierces deeper? Words or knives? What leaves a longer scar? Will you want to go there? Will you want to dig deep? Will you want to reach your heart? To grab it, to pull it out, to inspect it, to dust it off, to wipe it clean, to disinfect it, to wash it? Will you dare scrub it clean of hurts, of stains, of undesirable memories? Ignore the multitude, my brethren. We are talking of healing, transformation, reinventing, reconciliation. What you attract depends on what has accumulated on your hearts. They build your magnetic field. And it is written, to disperse the junks, you need to disconnect from your old magnets and build a new one. And to go forth, I ask you again, do you want to meet yourself, your brand new self, the one that existed in those days before the junks accumulated? And behold, knowing what we know today about you, it is frankly crazy that you are not crazy. Yes, you. So rejoice. However, as was spoken, that you think you are not crazy does not mean that you are not crazy, my brethren. For unto you, you may find out after reconciling yourself to you that you have been crazy without knowing it. Thus said the good book. Don't be ashamed of your experiences. They are very precious takeaways, and they came to pass. Don't be cowed by your broken bones. They inoculate you against fear, the way surviving an attack of viruses produces antibodies against the nest. Stop running from who you are. You cannot escape yourself. Until you forgive yourself, you have no power to forgive others. You are the one to fight the good fight. You should stop looking for another. In this generation of darkness, free yourself from your shadow. Watch your heart become smarter. Behold, that which you search for in the sky is right there inside your heart. Blessed are the children of light, who know that every cobweb covering their bright sky only aims to hide one simple fact from them, that they are the most important people in the world. Therefore, I say unto you, my brethren, you are the most important person in this world. Now, what are you going to do about it? Happy New Year. Happy New Year from me, the Bishop of Hayes Island. been. I've considered his antics. He feeds the gods with agege bread and melinda drink. He goes home and feeds his family with the rams of these wretched souls. He covers their body with dusting powder. He covers our eyes with his display of Iberiberism. He is, after all, Unyozi Jesus of Mbo. Oh, on a serious note, I cried watching this. For so long, I've made fun of the joke that this man has been. I've considered his antics mere entertainment. But today, something struck me. I just realized that it is much more than entertainment. While some of us are laughing at his foolishness, many more of us are trapped under his spell. Yes, there are many of us with compromised emotional intelligence. Many of us do not have the courage to be strong in the face of hardship. These are our brothers and sisters. These are our children that we are unintentionally feeding to this hyena. And there are many like him all around us. If we learn something from him, it is that there are always 5% of people who will buy whatever it is that you are selling. 5%. And 5% is a lot of people. We owe it to our society to save them from themselves. If there is anything that COVID-19 has taught the world, it is that if we allow 5% of any population to be infected by disease or by stupidity, we will all pay the price. The stupidity that we allow to blossom will eventually sweep us off our ivory towers. The perfect residence is an estate located within Beechwood Estate, Lakue, Lagos. The estate has 24-hour light, 24-hour security, and 24-hour water supply, an artificial lake, good drainage, and a central sewage system. Live Card Company is introducing Spring Island. Yes! Spring Island is a beautiful waterfront estate with lots of amenities and proposed access to a mini jetty where you can use a speedboat to Ikoyi if you don't want to use the access road. In its neighborhood, it has the Lakue Lakes, the Lakue Golf Course, Omu Resort, Green Spring British School. In just 3 months, the land has appreciated by as much as 20%. At Perfect Residence, a 450 square meter land is now 14.5 million. A 600 square meter land is now 19.3 million. At Spring Island, a 300 square meter land has changed from 6.6 million to 7.9 million. A 450 square meter land moved from 9.9 million to 11.9 million. Meanwhile, 600 square meters of land appreciated from 13.2 million to now 15.8 million. Those who made the purchases, they tell me that they are very satisfied with the professional services that they received. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? To sign up and make a request, visit the website of Lifeguard Company Nigeria. You can reach Grace Ofure directly at her email address, graceofurezone@gmail.com, and mention Dr. Damages as your coupon, and you will get 5% discount because you mentioned my name. And let me know how it went, okay?
A few moments later.
So you understand our situation. They are disturbing everybody. No social distancing. Today party, tomorrow party. What can we do? Everyday party. So we arrested them.
Coronavirus is so stubborn that we need to remain cautious. In the meantime, wear your mask, wash your hands, maintain social distance, follow health officials' guidelines, and stay safe. Only those who made it alive at the other side of the pandemic will get a chance to tell the story. All right. Hello, welcome to another episode of Have Your Say. This is a program where we give you a chance to have your say on topical issues of importance to everybody. Anybody who on Wednesday, if you follow the show, we know on Wednesday we talk about issues that concern Africans
who live abroad. Because we are a lot across the world. We exist, we live, and a lot of things have a lot of impact on us. We don't vote in most of our countries, but things that happen there impact us. So today we are going to deal with a very serious issue, and that is the issue of the church. When people lose somebody loved ones, they go home. It happens to people in Nigeria too, not just people abroad. But want to hear your experiences, those who have had the opportunity, the tragedy happened in their life where they went home and had to deal with all the processes involved in taking care of a loved one who died, giving them the final farewell, dealing with the church. I've had a lot of people write me and talk about their experiences. I want them to come on the show and share some of them. I hope they're well. We read in 2021 when the famous Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie said that she left the Catholic Church because of how the church handled the issue of money and how they dealt with the burial of her parents. There were so many things that a lot of people have complained about, and it's not just Catholic Church; it's also Anglican Church. We want to hear your voice. This is a show. This is your show. This is not my show. This is your own show. Opportunity for you to air your view about any issue that we are talking about. But today we want to talk about the process. I know that this is also seen from communities, kingsmen, but we want to focus on the church. The time I wrote an article about this, there were a lot of reactions from several people who had experiences that were not very, very good. So this is a chance to join us and let's have that conversation. The church is a major factor in the life of our people. And we will continue to deal with that. But sometimes what happens in these situations that because we don't talk about it, we don't engage the people involved. They don't know how people feel. People complain in private, but we want to give people the chance to complain and talk about it. Maybe we misunderstand what was going on. I heard from a lot of pastors when I wrote the article about what we don't understand, what the church needs, and why there is need for people to contribute money. But the question is that the best way to do that? Is that the best time to do that? When people are in their worst situation, when people are mourning lost ones, is that the time to basically force them to do certain things? So let's have that conversation. I'm sure that you've had something, people have experienced it. I've lost someone in my life and I've gone home for the funeral. I know that I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied with what happened. And so we want to hear from you. I'm posting the link for you to join us. You click on the link, you join us if you want to appear on the show. If you don't want to appear on the show, you can go on Facebook or you can go on YouTube or Twitter to watch from there. I expect a lot of, I heard from so many pastors and so many people who have experiences who are interested in joining this conversation. So while we wait for them to join us, don't be shy. Nobody's watching. We can also talk about the wider issue of the church in Africa, because it's not just in Nigeria. We may think that this is all about Nigeria, but it's beyond Nigeria. I had from friends from Uganda, from Kenya. It's still the same thing. There is a big divide between those at home and those outside of home, those in Lagos and those in the villages, or those in the capital and those in the villages, those outside the country and those in the country. So, and there have been so many controversies, and we are going to discuss all of them today. And I already see some of my people joining. We'll bring them on, but let's take 1 minute break and then we will have that conversation. Okay? Stand by.
He feeds the gods with agege bread and melinda drink. He goes home and feeds his family with the rams of these wretched souls. He covers their body with dust and powder. He covers our eyes with his display of Iberiberism. He is, after all, Unyozi Jesus of Mpo. Oh, on a serious note, I cried watching this. For so long, I've made fun of the joke that this man has been. I've considered his antics mere entertainment. But today, something struck me. I just realized that it is much more than entertainment. While some of us are laughing at his foolishness, many more of us are trapped under his spell. Yes, there are many of us with compromised emotional intelligence. Many of us do not have the courage to be strong in the face of hardship. These are our brothers and sisters. These are our children that we are unintentionally feeding to this hyena. And there are many like him all around us. If we learn something from him, it is that there are always 5% of people who will buy whatever it is that you are selling. 5%. And 5% is a lot of people. We owe it to our society to save them from themselves. If there is anything that COVID-19 has taught the world, it is that if we allow 5% of any population to be infected by disease or by stupidity, we will all pay the price. The stupidity that we allow to blossom will eventually sweep us off our ivory towers. The perfect residence is an estate located.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I have a friend of the show, the man from Arizona, where they marry more than one wife. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Damages.
So how are you today?
Well, let's just say I am good.
You're
for
good.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So, you know the topic we're talking about today. We're talking about churches and how they treat people when they go home to bury their loved ones. In the most difficult time of people's life, when they go there, they had to deal with, apart from the communities, the churches that you would think that the churches will be sympathetic, the churches will understand. Sometimes they have a very bad experience. I've heard from several people. I don't know if you have experienced that or you know anybody who went through something like
Well, I guess if you want to ask this question, that person should be me.
that. I say you,
Yes.
everybody. What happened?
Yeah, my mom attend Redeem.
Okay.
She's so big in Redeem. Like she pride herself that when she got ordained to be a deaconess, Adeboye single-handedly ordained her. So
Wow.
she pride herself very well. Somebody coming from Lagos, live the better part of her life in Lagos and move to Delta. So technically, she's managing like three, four, five parish in Redeem. This one will come, this one will come. You know, those funny things that everybody pray, Big Mama. My father worked so hard, built one small house. Then they celebrate her so well. My mother make mistake, play the politics, put all church members in the house as tenants. They don't pay rent. They don't do. She complains. She whine behind. She don't even have the courage to say it. You know, whenever she's so tired, she try to ask. They say, "Oh, this woman is ungrateful," and she'll go to church and go pray, sing, and the like. And his daughter got married to a politician in Abuja. His son is an engineer in America. Yeah, these rich people, they
She
are so
doesn't need money.
ungrateful.
Yeah.
She don't need money.
Yeah.
But if she don't need money, why would they also put a property and rent? You understand? And every other thing. Then she just put it first of all for free. You know, so they bully her with what she worked for so hard. It's so hard for her. And what did she do? And she carry her shoulder so high. Sometimes she can't even do anything because one deacon, somebody will probably call her, talk to her. Then she'll come back and cry on us for us to take care of her. It was tough. When my mom died, Dr. Damages, it's like we needed to write an application to everywhere, every churches that my mom went to officially to go notify them. Then they look the book if my mom is paying all her fair share.
They also do it at Redeem.
Oh yeah. The good thing is that my mom did it. They use my house for house fellowship, different thing. So my mom is really, really big. But this funny thing when you go back to Nigeria, some of your childhood friends will hear that you are around, but they want you to come meet them. They say, I don't want to go meet you, let it not look like I'm begging for money. They want you to come around. So they just want to do stuff like that. So it was funny, it was tough. And I keep fighting my siblings. I say, we are not doing all these things. We are not doing all these things. This woman live a good life. Let's just go bury this woman and go. They say, no, 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 that, this, and that. It was terrible with me. They keep calling me all type of day, Illuminati, 80s, that, this. It's funny. It's everything, my siblings, I know they won't discuss it, but they spend a lot of money trying to carry all these people along, service of song, this one, that, and this. These things don't matter at all. Dr. Damages, it takes me another 6, 7 months to quit like 2 people out of the house. Somebody even told me that my mom is this, my mom is a giver, my mom is this. Why am I bringing my mom down and everything? Then I asked, I said, is it not a cause for me to leave my inheritance for you? The only thing that my parents work so hard, is it not a cause if I leave it for you? Don't you think I've grown enough to make friends and everything? If my mom did that, we're good and better. But now I myself, I want to follow my mom's footsteps. If you don't want to leave, if you don't want to pay, leave. Let me also give it to somebody that I also like and trust. It is terrible. So the church thing, in all ramification, it is stupidity of the highest level. It is stupidity. They go with ego, with everything. Most of my mom clothes, my sisters don't need it. We even take these things and go give to the church and everything. They still come back, they still ask, oh, when your mom died, there are certain things you need to do. The day I buried my mom, that same day I left for Benin because there's no flight from Warri to Lagos. I left from Benin. From Benin, I check out of the state. I don't need all this nonsense that they are doing and everything. I don't need it. So Dr. Damages, that is just one little aspect of it. What about the fear, the everything? I go see my mom. My mom was seriously sick 2019. I was worried. I know how my mom sold her gold to send me to school. I know how I feel so pride that I want to go to Unilag, I want to go to schools like that. It didn't work out for me. I know how my mom worked hard for me. But this is time for me to pay my mom back, to make my mom happy. But the reverse is the case. All the hard work that I've put in, that my mom put to make me who I am, they made my mom understand that those things don't matter. It is the prayer that they pray that matter. People who don't know me, people who know my mom when we're already doing well, we are doing well, I'm doing well. Then I asked my mom, I have some of my siblings that are still struggling up to date. Why don't you meet these pastors to deliver? These pastors, they don't even know me. You understand? The few ones that even know me was in Lagos. Now you move down to Delta. They don't even know me. You understand? Other than they know that, oh, it's Sunday for America. Dr. Damages, I know I said it the other day, but let me say it again. When I became US citizen, my mom went and explained to them, because my mom too don't understand citizen. All everybody know is green card, you don't get green card. So I made my mom understand. I'm a citizen. I can travel everywhere. These are the benefits and everything. My mom, well, as he likes, go to church. Now the thing where you give me, Papa. They told my mom to buy 150 chairs in church
Because you are.
because I became a US citizen. Of course, my mom knows she cannot even ask me for stuff like that because I was already a radical. She knows. She just tried no way. She tried change her voice that she's sick. Probably maybe here and there gather some money from me. The other means that she will get money. Is it not the same houses that she already gives it to church? So she
Mr. Paul,
she
Mr.
can't
Paul,
get money. My
sorry.
mom had to go beg my younger brother. My brother said, I don't even have passports, talk less of a visa, talk less of becoming an American citizen. Where will I buy chair for church? When,
Okay,
Like,
you know,
okay.
like
Paul,
six,
hold
right?
on. Okay, hold on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. You're very interesting. I want to. This chairs like seats, right? Not okay. Not stocks. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
my friend. Uh, 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 sometimes I don't even know how to address you. You're Rudolph or Doctor.
I answer any of them. Any of them. They're all good. They're all my names.
Yeah. I I am at the bitter end of the use of religion to strangulate our people. I'm at the bitter end of it. In my family, I said it the other day. I am from Church of Christ, so we are pretty straightforward Bible reading, very non-ceremonious church. So I think we were the first in the 90s to ban vigil night. I remember one of my professors who was also a member of my church. The wife's family was Presbyterian, and he refused to go to his father-in-law's vigil night because he was Church of Christ. And the whole family, they would not talk to him. And then the next year, Presbyterian banned vigil night, you know, and and they're still holding it against him. Um, we're in trouble as a people. We are really in trouble because the average response, if you want to ask a Nigerian, like, what's your plan? You've told me about your problems. What's your plan? And they go, it's well. And you say,
God,
and you
God
say,
will handle it.
yeah, you say, yeah, yeah, you brought a problem to me. I've listened. So what have you done before I come in? Because my professor used to say most of the people who bring problems to you, they already have the solution. They just want somebody to confirm it, or at least to encourage them along. I'm always asking, and it is well, is the answer. People have totally mortgaged their brains out for church. And I'm a Christian, and this is not what God intended. And where we have this, I do not know where we got it from, but it's worse than. So the Christianity I left Nigeria in the 90s is not the Christianity we have now. It's not that strain of Christianity. This one is worse. I mean, somebody mentioned that, I think it was in this forum, that the people who did not succeed in 419, you know,
Yeah.
in the 90s, they are the pastors.
All right. Wait, hold on. Okay, we will.
Okay.
Let's introduce somebody that just joined us. Blessing, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everyone. Good
Yeah.
evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Miss Blessing.
Yeah, Blessing, tell us where you're joining us from and your own contribution to this conversation.
I I'm joining you from
Enugu.
Enugu State.
Oh, okay. Good. Very good. Enugu should be. You have churches there in Enugu.
Sister
Hmm.
Blessing.
Do you have churches
Not,
in Enugu?
I do, and as a matter
So,
of fact, I
hmm,
am I am an inconsistent member of the Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic
So,
Church. Yeah, yeah. So
so
how do you have your
I've had my own share of experience with them when it comes to burials.
burials? Can
The
you
most
tell us one of those? Because I mentioned at the beginning that Chimamanda Adichie was Catholic. At a point, she said she wasn't going to go to church anymore because of some of the things going on. Can you tell us your own experience?
uh, the most recent was in 2020. I had an aunt from my paternal side. She was single and childless at 49 when she passed on. I took care of her till she passed on. So it was personal for me. And it was during the lockdown period. My family, my uncles, that is her siblings, none of them could travel down to the east to sort out the burial arrangements. So the responsibility was left to me and my elder brother. Now, bear in mind that I did mention that I'm an occasional member of the Roman Catholic Church. This is despite being born into it. I do not really practice it as much as my parents would have wanted, but that's like so. When my aunt died, the first responsibility that drew me to the church was going to inform the parish where she worshipped officially that she had died because they kept visiting at the hospital. They knew she was dead, but they said we had to make it official. We had to come tell the church officially that she had died. And she was a member of the charism. She was a staunch member of the charism. I went to the church one after the evening mass. I met with the Reverend Father and the leaders of the charism, and I informed them that their member was dead. They told me when the family fixed it, that we should keep them in the know. Now, where I got my own taste of the whole church issue was when they told us we needed a what did they call it again? I'm trying to remember the name of the letter. They said we had to get from her parish.
Clearance. Is it?
No, I think it was a letter to certify that she was a member of good standing, something
Okay, yeah,
like that.
that's it. You clear yourself that you don't
Yeah,
owe anything.
clearance.
Yeah, clearance. Yeah,
Yeah.
They said
that's
we
what they
needed
call
to
it
get
in my own area. Yeah.
they, they said we needed to get the letter from the parish here in Enugu
Mm.
before the parish in the village could officiate the burial. That without the letter, the parish priest from the village would not officiate the burial. We have to wait for that one. They they eventually the charism people, God bless them, they came through for me because I told them if you people insist on this, I'll just go home and tell my people you people are making it difficult. They will call a pastor, give the pastor more money and bury her. It is already painful enough that she died at 49, childless and unmarried. You people should not make it worse. They came through and we got the letter. We went to the village and ah, I don't want to go into details, but bottom line, the parish priest here in Enugu, God bless him, eventually came over after much back and forth about the letter. He gave us the letter. He came on his own accord because he had a good relationship with her. He came to join the village priest in officiating. That was my last experience with them. I thought it was just going to be as simple as he's dead though. When we are taking the burial, come and say prayers for her, let's bury. I did not expect the whole merry-go-round. It was really something else. And bear in mind, this was during the lockdown period,
Mm.
pandemic era. So you could
Mm.
imagine
Thank you.
having
Thank
to
you.
go through and so.
Thank you, Blessing. Um, let me come back to you, Paul. So did you have to know stories of people who had to pay money, who had to clear things, who where churches there are instances where churches will say they won't even come unless and sometimes these are poor people, but it's actually especially difficult for people who are living in the big cities to go home to the villages to do these things, or people who are coming from out of the country. That's when situation goes offhand. What did you know about that kind of experience? Oh.
Yeah, obviously, exactly. This same thing that you talk about, the clearance and everything, they did the same thing with my mom. But my mom is just a walkover because she's a heavy member, she's well recognized. Everybody know her. They use my father's compound to do church service activities here and there, So my mom was like completely cleared, but they spell it out. Then they now even insist how they will bury my mom, the type of clothes that my mom will wear, and I'm telling you now, as redeemed. I said, "Oh Lord," I said, "No, my mom will never wear these clothes because my mom, I may look like this." I said, "No, my mom will never wear these clothes." He said, "Redeem, you dress a certain way, Redeem have what they call classic and modern. So my mom is those classic one, those traditional redeem. So she'll dress, put those their art and everything." I said, "No, we'll bury my mom as an Urobo woman. You understand? And everything. We'll bury my mom." So we fought those ones. Where immediately we fought those ones, they understand. My elder sister just said, Now they know few of us among the siblings that they know, okay, this is where the money will be coming from. So you don't need to hurt those people,
Mm.
So they'll go back, they'll say like this, no problem. But Dr. Damages, let me deviate a little bit. My father never attended church for many years. My father don't do village meeting, don't do all those things. My father deviate from everything. But when my dad died, my in-law put my dad, they run all those ad on TV, put it on newspaper. My dad burial was very, very big. You understand? We buy cow. The cow was like 1 week in our compound before the burial come. All the people that say they won't come, they
Is,
look,
is it
if I
one?
miss this
Did you
burial,
buy? Did you buy one cow or one only?
oh, like three.
Okay, okay.
So
Just to check.
so people on their own say, if I miss this burial, I may lose. My father that did not pay any due, but everybody come and celebrated my dad.
Mhm.
When I look at my mom, I say, you pay all these things just for them to bury you. At the end of the day, we are the one that end up bury our mother.
Let me also ask you, Paul. The big bishops, the big church leaders come to the burial.
Oh, they came. They came. Why would they come? They come. My elder sister. Funny enough, my elder sister. My elder sister, kind of. But it's something I will tell you later. The husband, they live in Abuja. So my elder sister, the husband, is a big time journalist, but not a politician. But because of this journalist and politician life, they are coming to worry. He will call the state, they will give all type of security, mopo here and there. So they just carry the rumor and they live with it that, oh, she married to a politician. Couple of times my dad have land dispute issues and every other thing. They worry people. So, so stuff like that. So they just know my sister to be, she married to a big time politician. So add to myself and my other siblings. So they have that mindset in their mind. So whenever we say anything, to some extent, they bend. So when they came, guess what? They just pull the three of us. We are six in numbers. Three of us, they pull us corner. Every one of them keep negotiating. Oh, my son want to come to US. How can you help me? My three of my daughter graduated. How can you give them job?
You mean the
It's
church
aggressive marketing because we all don't know attend those churches. You understand? So they know this mama say, oh, the children is big. So it's an opportunity that those children that they've been hearing for a very long time, now that they are coming, let me go market myself and get some peace. So every one of them I meet is not like sorry for your loss. It's about help my son to America, help my daughter, help my son that graduated with 2-1 with first class. In fact, somebody even said his son graduated with first class upper, which I never heard before. First class upper.
All right.
So
They could
Paul,
not
hold
pray
on.
that one to existence.
Sorry.
you say what?
When? What did he say?
I said they could not pray that one into being. They had to ask you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's yeah. You're right, Wayne. So let's welcome Sam. Sam, you look like, where are you? There's no light. Okay, maybe he wasn't ready to talk to us. Let me come back to you, Blessing. So are you, after the experience, do you still go to church, or you don't go to church anymore?
Well, prof, for the longest time, I've not been very active in church. So I would say that experience did not help matters. Yeah, it
It did
didn't
not strengthen your faith.
it
at
didn't
all,
fly
at
well.
all, at all.
Mm,
No, it
mm,
didn't.
wow.
I have not, I think, I wouldn't say I fell off the bandwagon. My religious sisters would say I backslided, but
Yeah, yeah.
I just said I became indifferent. Yes, I became indifferent towards church stuff. I could see through them in 2010. I was a teenager in 2010 when my dad passed. For the longest time, all my life that I knew my dad, he died. He was a member of the Blue Army. Anybody that knows the Catholic Church well will tell you what the Blue Armies did. These ones are sponge Catholics. They pray the rosary all day without getting tired. Now, my dad was a Blue Army in my degree for years. All those brother in church, even right after he had us, after he married and had us. Then after sometime when we moved back to the east after my mom's death and everything. She was still a Catholic, but I was not around when my dad died. But story has it that she was a pastor that officiated my father's funeral. He was a pastor.
Mm.
I cannot tell exactly what happened, but the Catholic Church refused to bury my dad. I was too
After serving as a Blue
young
Army.
to know Blue Army. He was a member of the Blue Army for years in his parish in Maiduguri. I don't know about the parish here in Enugu, but he was a church member here in Enugu. But all those years of prior service did not count. I think what mattered to them was the most recent years or how I don't know, but I knew my dad was not buried as a Catholic.
Mm.
He was buried by some random pastor.
I'm sorry about that. It's a common experience. Just at the tail end, they pass judgment and forget what happened at the beginning. Stand by, okay? John Abba, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doctor.
John, do you have any experience with the? I know you're a pastor in a church. I don't want to get to what you do at your church when people die, but have you had any experience dealing with pastors at home and the issue of burial and funeral?
Yes, not directly, but my neighbor uh, in the village, I think he was a Catholic member, and when he passed away, uh, based on the understanding was that he have outstanding dues that he didn't pay, and as a result, they will not conduct the burial or officiate it. So it was done by another pastor
From the Catholic Church or from a different church?
from a different church.
And as a pastor, do you think your neighbor will make heaven because different? Does it matter who?
I don't. When you are going, you are going. It doesn't matter who
Good,
sacrificed.
because there's a Catholic priest who is going to join us in a few minutes. I hope he will come because I really want to hear from people like pastors. Does it really matter? Is where are we with this? Our thinking is it that when you die, if a bishop comes to bury you, you have a better chance of making it to heaven compared to ordinary pastor? What is the idea now? What is the thing happening?
The culture in Christendom, some people attach so much value to it, and why some don't. But if you go deep into Catholic, you want to talk about Catholic, you should remember that that is what brought the World War, whatever, with Luther. So they
Yeah.
think, yeah. So what Catholic preach is that they even in those days they even believe, and even till today, that they forgive your sins. So some people that are deep into it very religiously, they believe that. I don't, but that is what people believe, and that's what it is.
All right, let's hear a different viewpoint, very important viewpoint. Esther, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Can you
Last,
hear me?
yeah,
Can you
we
hear
can
me
hear
okay?
you. We can hear you. Last time you blocked you shook a table that the internet people are still reacting to your comments about the church.
Yes.
So I don't know if you have any experience with this topic that we're discussing.
Yes, I wanted to bring a different perspective to this very topic, what you're talking about. And this was my own personal experience when my mother died 2 years ago. So my mom was a member of Deeper Life Church. My mom, my dad, but I'm half Nigerian. My mom is from a different country, but she met my dad and moved to Nigeria and was living in Nigeria. And so when my mom died, because my father was never really a good husband. He was just not one to, you know what some men are like. He left my mom for so many years. She raised us all by herself. And so when my mother died, because she died so suddenly, there was no we had not there was no plans for anything as to her funeral. So now, but because my mom comes from a different country and my mother's mother is still alive, and because this country, they have a better system of doing things, they it made me realize that we are our own problem.
Well, can you share with us the country your mom came from? Yeah.
She was from Malawi.
Okay, okay.
She was from Malawi. And so when my mother died, they contacted us and said, we have a place, a family plot of land, and we want her back in our country. Is that possible? And we said, yes, that's what we think she would have wanted. Do you know that my mother's family, they coughed out the money to transport her from Nigeria to Malawi? They took care of every single thing to do with her funeral. Myself and my siblings live in the UK. They told us the only thing we need to do, just make your way down. You see us for every single thing. They even put us up in a hotel in the village where my mother, the village where my mom comes from, where she was buried. They paid our hotel bills. My mother's family, they all came, transporting my mom from Nigeria to Malawi cost over $3,000 US dollars. We didn't pay a dime. We, the children, we didn't pay. Meanwhile, my father's family, everything we did secretly, because they were already starting to get angry that the firstborn could not even pick the phone and call them and tell them that mom had died. They already started waiting for us. They were thinking that we were going to contact them. Mom has died now. We will have to go and bury her in the village over there. Listen, all the plans for my mom's funeral, everything, the siblings and my mom's family over in Malawi, we all just everything my mom died on the 2nd of January. She was buried on the 20th. 18 days. Everything was done. Let me tell you, on the day of my mom's funeral, we were wondering, okay, what are we going to wear? You know how in Nigeria they do it, you have to do ashwabi, you have to do this. They told us, wear anything you like. Anything. All they did was a wrapper. They had a wrapper for the family of my mom. So everyone who identified as the family members, there was a wrapper that we had that, I just wore my simple dress and my slippers to the funeral. I'm telling you, all I'm trying to say is this. You see all these problems that these people give us over in Nigeria. It is when it is funeral time. That's when the person that has been holding you in their mind for donkey's years, they wait for you at the funeral. Say, maybe they are coming. They are bringing their family member to come and bury. That is the time for us to you know, a lady called me when we were making the plans for my mom's, because we had to hush everything. We had to hush from the Nigerian family members, because those ones were planning. They were waiting for us. They were all the beef they had with us. They were waiting, but they didn't know that they were blindsided. Till today, as I speak to you, till today, they are still angry. They're still angry till today. The woman has been buried. She's been, the family members took care of everything. By the time my mother was done buried, we all decided, no, we can't just let these people take care of the bills. We went to my uncle. Uncle, we have put some money together. we need to, at least, we will not be able to offset everything, but for taking care of us, for doing everything. Here, we've put, this is no money, this is nothing. Here, uncle said, you people have children that you have left behind in the UK. He said, we have the money. She was our daughter. She was my sister. Your mother is here, lying with us here. Do you know what it means? He said the day he got to the airport and saw mommy arrive in he said for him it was everything. So I'm saying all of this to say that we are our own biggest problem. All these issues that we bring up when people are buried, right? When people are being buried, they now come with culture. You see all this cultural thing, they use it to manipulate us. They use it to, you only need to go and see how other people do it. Then you will realize that we are truly our own problem. I have my own experience to share, and the Nigerian side of those people are still angry till now. Maybe one or two of them might see this, but if they like, they can get angry from now till tomorrow. My mom she's exactly where
she wants to be.
She would have loved to be, absolutely. And anybody that wants to get angry is for their pockets. If my mom, as a lady who called us when we were trying to make the plans for getting my mom buried, she called me and said, if you people can bury your mom in Malawi, make sure you do it. That when my mother died, her mom was living here in the UK, and her mom had already bought a plot of land where she wanted to be buried. The mom had bought a land where she wanted to be buried in Nigeria. So when the mother died in the UK, they moved her to Nigeria. When the mom got over there, her auntie now started to cause problems. And the auntie said the firstborn did not call her, right? So they now started bringing up issues. She told me that their mom, who was supposed to be buried on that land that their mom had already paid to be buried. The mom had planned her own funeral. She had already prepared the place where she wanted to be buried in Nigeria. But then the problems arose in the family, and it all started with her mother's sister. Their mom who died, her own sister, said, because this person did not call me, because this person did not call. So their mom stayed in the mortuary for 7 months. And it was the children. They were the ones paying every single day. They were paying the mortuary bills. And why? Their mom was supposed to have been buried, but because the family were having problems here and there, this. You know what they decided to do? The siblings, the three of them, decided to go and buy another place to bury their mom behind the backs of their mom's sister and all the other. Look, you see the place that their mom had bought for herself, right? That place is empty now because they went behind. She just called the brother, look, just find somebody who will come to the funeral and bury mommy. Yeah, they moved. Look, you see that auntie that was busy getting angry and this and that. She was blindsided. They buried the mother without her knowledge, by the time they were done, everybody moved back to the UK. It's done and dusted.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to explore what happens after, because like I said, someone like Chimamanda Adichie decided, no, I'm not going to church anymore after seeing these things. A lot of people react different ways, but at the end, it doesn't bring people closer to the church. I am still hoping that some of these pastors and reverend fathers will join us.
I'm an atheist, so anything to do with the church, I'm not keen. I think that religion is doing us a disservice in Africa, in Nigeria. I feel like we have reached the point where we need to start having these conversations. Is religion doing us any good? I feel it isn't. We need to have these conversations. Um, I want to be cremated. I do not want a priest, a pastor, or any of that crap at my funeral. I don't want any of that sort. You know, I already start thinking about what I want at my funeral. But anything religious, keep it away from my funeral. No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Paul, let me come back to you. After your experience with your mom, how do you, what did you do? Did you challenge the church? They have an experience with someone who challenged the church, and finally his siblings said to him, "Look, you do all these things and you go back to America. We are the ones who will be here, who will have to deal with them. So why don't you just go? Why don't you just leave things the way they are? You are not going to make any impact, because you cause more trouble for us, and then you leave." What is did you feel? Did you get any kind of reaction like that?
Dr. David is 100% you right. My
Mm.
siblings said that. They said it a different way. They say, oh, we can't even ask our friend for favor. They'll say, oh, your brother in America, which one they can't ask me money? We can't go to church and get anything. They'll say, you guys are rich. They said it exactly the way you say it. You know, they begged me. One of my brother, the last one, is a pastor today. I don't get along with him, or I'll say he don't even get along with me. I just came back from Nigeria. I bought some things for him. I don't think he even take it. You know, I bought some clothes, shoes, everything. He didn't even take it. They don't get along because he started telling people that with the look of things, he thought that I am an atheist. But he said now it looked like I'm an Illuminati. And you know they believe Illuminati is even powerful than Okija. You know. So they don't get yeah, I'm telling you, if my elder sister, when I went to Nigeria, I stayed in my elder sister's house for a little bit in Magodo. You know, my siblings came. Even my elder sister took us out to even go drink. You understand? I watched my sister in a bar while my sister is buying us drink. We're enjoying ourselves. My sister with the other phone, she still pray, Amen, Amen. She have an online church, Hallelujah challenge. But the good thing is that I am just trying for us to find that common ground for us to like one another. I have a little bit experience that I learned when I came to America some years back. I had a fever. So when I had fever, it was getting too much. So I went to the hospital. I was shocked to see a Nigerian, you understand, told me this in the hospital. I was shocked when they said, "Oh, you had a fever," you know. Meanwhile, my friends, family, they already come with the traditional thing. They brought milk, brought this, eat, and never. Oh, they said, "No, you don't take milk." You understand? The fever is virus. If you starve the fever, then the fever will die. So you don't need to take milk. You don't need to take anything. Doctor Damages, when we were growing up, if you had fever, that's why you drink pig milk. You understand? So you live, you learn. But our people choose not to learn. The churches is changing. You understand? From bad to worst. And these people just accept it. Pastor will tell them to their face that I suffered. I was driving B2. I graduated with first class. I don't have a job. I suffered today. Look at me. What did this pastor do that he did different that makes him do well?
Mm,
Of course, from 10 church members to 1,000. If 1,000 of them donate 100 naira, then the pastor is doing well.
mm,
I keep on telling these people, you don't need all these things. Some of the things you call your problem, I feel for you, it's not your problem. It's just that you find yourself in a system that is not working.
mm,
But they keep telling you that somebody is doing you. Nobody is doing you anything.
mm,
You guys pray a lot. I don't pray. You people curse me. And I'm doing well. You understand? I
mm.
am doing well. How about you think it like that? You
Okay.
understand? If you
Yeah.
pray a lot and I don't pray and I'm doing well, check yourself. You understand?
I think it's an
Doctor,
aberration.
yeah,
It's an exception to the rule. Wait. Let me. John Abba, there's somebody who Chibuike wrote a comment said that people are leaving the church because of actions of bad priests and bishops. Is the height of foolishness. So, are you concerned that as a result of some of these things going on, that even the church is losing more people? Um,
Can I make a comment to
Yeah,
that?
go ahead. Go ahead, Esther.
So when I deconverted from Christianity, left Christianity behind, some people said, "Oh, you've left Christianity for emotional reasons." I said, "Yes, if I've left Christianity for emotional reasons, my emotional reasons are very valid. My emotions are valid. We go out there and convert people and use these same emotions to reel them into church, right? Then why can they not use the same emotions to make their way outside of church? If a priest and these fathers and these people who are the leaders are not behaving themselves, and people decide that for that reason I will excuse myself from the church, they are very valid. And we should not invalidate their experiences. People like that who made that comment is the reason why these men will carry on doing their rubbish and doing their nonsense, because whether they do bad, whether they do the most heinous things, there will still be people who will side with them, who will say, "Oh, but these are working for God. These are God's servants. These you cannot leave church because if people anyone can leave church for whatever reason they choose. It's their life, it's their experience, it's their reality. Do not invalidate people's experiences. If they want to leave, you never know. Maybe they're leaving because they want people to sort themselves out and they might come back on a later date until things are rectified. You need to give these people a chance too. We have allowed religion to hook us by the neck. Even when people are doing something wrong, we will still be here. You know, a pastor was trending on Twitter some days ago. His dick pic is all over Twitter. Come and see people siding. Eh?
Are you talking? Okay, no, let me not mention his name. Welcome to the show, Chibike. Welcome to the show. Tell us where you're joining us from, Chibike.
Hi, I'm joining from Vancouver, Canada.
Okay, welcome. So I saw some of your comments on our social media. Do you have any experience dealing with priests and funeral at home?
No, uh, no, I've never had to bury like anybody or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, but I was listening to the comments you made. You said about like about your Amanda and how she left the church
Mhm.
because of she had problems with
Money,
burials.
money in the church and the way they basically converted the church into money making machine.
uh so it's possible for people to hijack the church and do some bad actions with the image of the church, but the church itself, like you have to separate the the institution of priesthood from the person that is the priest. For example, like uh, a priest can be in sin and be sinful, but if he celebrates mass, that mass he celebrates is still valid. So you now removing yourself from the church, assuming everything the church is saying is true, assuming this salvation in the church, the confession, the sacraments, everything, assuming it's true, you're removing yourself from that because of the actions of a man. So you need to separate the office from the person holding the office, because there's a promise from God that these sacraments that are performed in the church, he will act through them. So even if the person is not perfect, because it doesn't make sense for you to put your faith inside the person, because you don't know who is real and who is fake. Even if somebody like is he's acting genuine or is real, you don't know what the person is doing behind the scene. So you cannot put your faith inside a person. there's a promise
So
associated.
Yeah,
I'm not
Chibike,
cutting you up, but
go ahead.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
cutting you up. Um, young man, I'm not cutting you up. I want to ask you a simple question. Do you like the fact that if a child is traumatized by a parent, either of them, whether the mother or the father, abused emotionally and otherwise, do you think it's the right thing for that child to stay in that home, taking the abuse all her life or all his life from the parent, or is good for her sanity or his sanity to move out of that home?
Oh,
I'm just asking a question.
okay, I think it's good for the person to separate themselves from that environment, but it doesn't make sense for the person to say that this is not my father or this is not my mother anymore. That one is now the ordinary reality. So the actions, the actions you can take, you can separate yourself. I believe the same thing. Like if it comes to marriage, like a woman is in an abusive relationship or with the husband, you can't now say that is not your husband.
No, you put X. You put X if you move away from the marriage. You say ex-husband. So
No, no, you
Can
can
I?
separate, yourself from the physical abuse, but you signed an oath to God till death, till death do
oh,
you part.
oh. So
So
you believe
Can
divorce is wrong?
can I add something
yes,
here?
I believe that was wrong.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right. Hold on. We'll come back to that. Esther, you want to add something?
Yes.
Okay.
Um. So you see these claims of God did this and God did that. They have used it to hoodwink us for a long time. So from just by what Chibike was talking now, it's obvious that he is still he's a religious person, still believes that God this and that. Now, from my own perspective, if anyone is claiming God, first of all, you start by proving the existence of that God first. Then, when you're done proving that existence, then you have to then break down for me what version of Christianity is preaching the truth. We out of all the churches that we have in Nigeria, please, which one of them is the chosen church that will take us to heaven? Otherwise, we don't know. So the fact that you think that a God is telling these people, you think that these people are telling some kind of truth. There's no truth in what these people are saying. The fact that they come and they say, oh, God told me this and God hates divorce and God, who has seen God to know what the
No.
mind of God is?
Okay. All right, Esther. Let's make sure. Let's try to get back to the conversation. But the angle that Chibike added to this is that people when people are not satisfied with what they get from the church experiences, especially in their worst moments,
Mm.
and they leave that place and feel like the church has gone rogue. You are now saying that they don't have a right to separate themselves from the church because what?
No,
They were
no,
born in the
I'm not
church.
necessarily saying that they don't have a right to
Okay.
separate themselves from the church, but assuming what the church is saying is true,
Yeah.
assuming
Yeah.
it's like you're doing two wrong things to yourself. Something wrong has happened to you. You're now adding another wrong thing onto the situation by leaving the church. Assuming the church actually provides salvation, you leaving the church, like I don't see how like it
Yeah.
contains.
But
This is what they call
The
Stockholm syndrome.
Kingdom.
Yeah, this is Stockholm syndrome, where the person who is abusing you, because they're your father, because they're your spiritual leader, because they're your something something something, they did good for me 10 years ago, so therefore I mustn't leave. Look, the day you start to experience something that makes you uncomfortable, something that is not agreeing with you, right? That you reckon is wrong, and you just think that, look, if you can leave, you leave straight away, right? Don't
Chibike,
wait.
No,
Don't wait.
Chibike,
Okay.
Chibike, I guess
Let's hear
Chibike,
from
listen.
them.
what
You need to
Chibike,
identify.
what you said, I to some extent, let me put it this way. Let me say I want to agree with you. Our culture and our tradition, it is very, very fine. We have a very fantastic culture. What makes us pull away in certain things in our culture? Because there are certain things they did wrong, and makes all of us live the so-called our traditional belief. We all have our different type of gods that we worship back in the days. You understand? For example, the most ancient city in Africa, I use the word, one of the most ancient city in Africa is Benin City. You understand? That city today is not that grown as it would have been because back then you hear when the Oba died, they sacrificed 250 human beings. When an Onoge die, they kill people. What do you think? Any city in the world that grows, they grow with strangers. Today, one of the most popular city in the world today is London. The mayor of London is from Pakistan. You understand? Stranger grow New York, grow London, grow any major city you think of. But in Benin, they use the so-called stranger to do this sacrifice. That is how people left. The same thing will apply to churches. If the churches don't do well, people also see it a means of you living. But when you said,
Yes.
oh, you will not leave, then why did you leave your tradition? Is
No,
it
why
not
did
because they
no no
abuse
Yes.
it that makes you left your tradition?
we should start with why did he leave Nigeria to come to Canada? He could have stayed in Nigeria, to fix it and but
I'm going back to Nigeria in 3 days, but that's by the way. There's a difference between like something that is man-made and something that is created by God. So assuming it is to do with God and is created by God, then there's a certain level of eternity or validity that cannot just be taken away. There's a perfection associated to it.
TBK, I'm a Christian. Even though from you saying my name, you already know that I'm a Christian. But I will tell you something. Even the Bible even said it that before Christ will come again, he will go around the world, he will cover everywhere. The other day when we spoke in this forum, I said something about statistics. The world today is around between 7.4 to 7.8 billion people in the world today. Only the population of China is more than the whole of Africa. China has 1.7 billion people. That place, they are not Christians there. They are not Muslims there. Followed by India, 1.4 billion people. The numbers of people that is Christian, so-called Catholic in India, is heavy minor minority. Followed by Pakistan, 1.1 billion people. My brother, if you do all these statistics today, you discover that the so-called Christian that even come from the West, where we say partly Europe and today maybe America and the likes, they still share it. So sometimes this God that we say and everything, my brother, if you want to serve this God, the people that wrote this book, let's just say it's a good book for us to read. Let's follow this book based on when the book preach peace and love, which our culture, our tradition also preach to some extent. But when you want to say, oh, without this, you cannot make heaven, you cannot do this, my brother, if you want to do it that way, I strongly believe that even though the Christians is nowhere in mankind today, if you want to look, we are not that much. Which means even though the God that we're talking about is not even delivering, how come they can't even enter the Chinese market, enter the Indian market, enter the Pakistan market? You understand? Japan today, they worship Shintos and everything. We as a Christian, we criticize so much. You understand? The proliferation of Americans today in America today, we are talking about the Irish and the Italians. It is because of Catholic that made these people run away from Europe to America. I hope you know that. You understand? It is easy for us to criticize the Muslim, they are terrorists, they are that. Do you know what the Catholic did to people? These are Christians. Do you know what they did? My brother, let us look this literature of a book where we see the good part of it. Let's work with it. You understand? Don't cherry pick and think this is the only way. My brother, na scam.
No, but for you to be a Christian, you have to believe that without Christ there isn't salvation. So, uh, like I don't really know.
So when you talk about Christ, I hate to, when you talk about Christ, remember the story of the Good Samaritan when Christ talked. You understand? Today, when Christ talk about the Good Samaritan, he talk about the Levites and the Samaritan. What we call the Levites today is what we call the so-called brethren, the pastors, the reverends today. When we talk the Samaritan, it's what we call the so-called Juju people, as we say it in Nigeria. But who helped that man? It is the Samaritan that helped that man, not the Levite. And what did Christ said? Christ said that is an example of somebody that will make heaven. So sometimes when you think without Christ you will make heaven, but this person is a Samaritan. He doesn't believe in Christ, but Christ himself said this is an example of somebody that will make heaven.
Can
Or
I
is it the
add?
two thief when Christ was dying in the cross? You understand? One
Can I
one
say
come to,
something?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I?
Paul, let's hear from Esther too, and then Chibike, you respond. And I want to move the conversation back to
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So you're talking about Christ coming to save us. You're talking about salvation for
Coming,
Christ
Esther, say
bringing
coming, or you
salvation.
already there.
He came to save us. What did he come to save us from? Christ came to save us from the punishment that he is going to give to us. We have been told these stories according to a book, and we have never sat down to really ask ourselves, does this make sense? Does it make any logical sense
the
to
stories are
the
not according
mind?
to a book.
They
The
make
book
no
was written by
sense.
people.
Yes, it was written by people. There's no God involved in
Okay.
any of these books
Okay.
whatsoever.
I
No,
know that.
let me just finish here. To think that you will worship a God that chooses to sacrifice his own son because two people ate a fruit
Okay,
and he has to send his son to come and
Esther,
die for
Esther,
our salvation.
Esther,
They lied to us in Africa.
we're going
Africans,
to
wake up.
we're
It's
going to talk
time to
about this.
give these religions, just beam them. Jesus came to save you from what he's going to do to you. What kind of sick, twisted logic is this?
All right, all right.
He
Wait,
did
wait,
not.
wait. We will discuss religion one day. We will make this Bible the subject of our conversation one day. But
He did not save. He did not save Christians from what he's coming to do to us. Is what we'll do to ourselves through our actions in life. Any choice you make leads you in one direction, either towards God or away from God. So if you keep making more and more choices that keep you towards that send you like away from salvation, then you're distancing yourself from God, because everything that God stands for is truth.
all right, all right.
All right.
Let's hear from Sam. Sam has been trying to join us. He's in a dark place. But we can hear him. Sam, welcome to the show. Sam, can you hear me?
Some
Okay.
can't hear you, Dr. Damages. So
Okay, Sam.
let's go back to our topic.
Okay, let's get back to the
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Before you go back, I want to finish the point I was making to Esther.
Okay.
I know I didn't really say it well. So when Adam and Eve first sinned, they separated themselves from God with original sin. So humans can no longer be in unity with God because of that original sin. So that is why Christ had to die for our sins in order to bring us back to unity with Him, or to unity with God. So it was to restore the unity of man and God. That's why God had to be a man to like to restore the bridge between humanity and God.
All right. All right.
Okay. I think Dr. Damages is a good thing that this young one is part of your program early. I hope with time he will. I'm a pastor of being, and he will grow up to where he should be. When all you are saying, I think Esther know that perfectly well, more than you think. So, and I pray that you too you grow up in faith and in spirituality, like Paul was saying. Um, I told you guys in one show, one of those show few weeks or days ago. My wife's best friend, I use it for a good example. He married to a very religious guy. That's my wife's best friend on this earth. And the guy treated her badly. Then the guy was so mean to himself that he was so principled, very religious. He died, unfortunately. He so rest in peace. And my wife, the point I'm making about all those religious things, and the lady, nobody believed in her life she will get married to a Muslim. And now the Muslim brother is treating her with respect and dignity. All the thing is that the point I'm making is that humanity is about kind and love. All of the thing about whether I go to, I went to a mosque to see one of my good friends in Arlington, Texas here. And they say, oh, I'm now an antichrist. That's what they told me that, why did I go to mosque? And that I went to mosque, that why? I said, but apart from mosque, that is a religious building. This guy is my friend in the real world. So I now committed this sin by when he invited me. So all those religious things, as you grow, the point I'm making is I know where you are in your belief system, and I know as you attend this program, let us have an open heart. I think there are more to learn when it comes to this. So go ahead, Dr. Damages.
All right. Let's welcome Ralph. Ralph, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello, doctor, and greetings, everybody. I've been following the conversation from the beginning.
Good. So, have you had any experience, or do you know stories of people who went home to bury somebody and had to deal with demands of the church?
I haven't buried somebody myself, but I know of stories.
Okay. Well, what stories do you know?
Everything that, especially, somebody needs to mute their mic. The stories that I know of sound very similar to Paul's story. Oh, why is my camera dark? I don't know. Shit. I look like I'm in Nigeria now.
And you're a podcaster. No, you're in Brooklyn. You're in Brooklyn. So
I'm in Brooklyn. It look like a particle light.
We understand.
But it sounds very similar to Paul's story and Blessing's story of the demand for that letter. The demand for, there's always one demand for something, but what I know, or what I've come to the conclusion of, is that you can see a form of classism in the way the church always approaches this burial thing. All the stories I'm familiar with, the people weren't like in the upper class of society. They weren't super rich, because I never got those stories from, of such struggles with people who were well connected, or not them, because I have somebody in my family who, she was she probably is the wealthiest person in my family. Her husband was a late retired major general, so they had an oil license. That woman believed in going to Juju house 24/7. So that's how I knew of Juju house in Togo and Benin Republic. She had friends who would take her there, but just for every other thing, which is, there's nothing wrong with it. But every morning she also went to mass. If she wasn't traveling out of the country, she was going to mass because she was a Catholic. I was born into a Catholic family, and then with time, I will end up in different churches in Nigeria. So if there was somebody who you could have brought those demands for letters and all that stuff when she died, that was a perfect example. But she built a Catholic church too in the village, so nobody gonna ask that question. Nobody was bringing that request. It was smooth sailing, good, saintly. But those of us we knew that this is who this person was. So if you're applying that rule to everybody, and that's what I was arguing with Dominic, in the
Comment
chat,
section.
in the comment section, yeah, that the rule it's never. I've always seen this because it says cultural. I don't think it's cultural. It's just like with the sexual scandals in all churches, whether it's in North America, Europe, Australia. You see that there are certain people who get protected. If you're not in a certain class, then they throw you out quickly. So it's the same thing.
Now I know someone who wrote me and said that he bought the generator that the church was using when a parent of his died.
Mhm.
And when they came for the funeral, they had to make him buy gas before they can turn on the generator. Now just think about it. He bought the generator for the church.
Hey,
So they
that's a good Nigerian hustle right there. That's a good Nigerian hustle. We know that one. You can't just you will tap the collect the fuel money on the day off. That's why I said
they did
our
not even
religious
think
houses.
to say, this man bought this generator. We
But
can
hell
we
no.
can buy we can
So
buy
why
Hell
don't he
no.
live with the generator after the service?
Thank you. That's what that. But if you want to do that, then somebody will say, "Oh, separate the church from the person doing it," and and I'm like, no, we don't hold church accountable
Exactly.
because every bad thing that's happened in Nigeria, there's church supporting it. Every bad thing. Dominic, my brother Dominic said, we don't support abortion and all that. I said that's a lie because we know
You should
the stories of Catholic priests having abortion, paying for abortion. Our apostle paid for abortion. Our popular apostle, he paid for abortion. How many people have paid for abortion? We
you
know.
should
So
you
we'll not
should
come
hold
out and
those
say
people.
Nigerians don't like abortion. I say you can get abortion everywhere in Nigeria. So it's the same thing with the funeral. You know who to target, you know who to hustle, you know who you are coming after. I think the priest miscalculated against Chimamanda because I think she had, since she identified as a feminist, he thought, I'm going to attack feminists on that day of funeral and she won't talk. And it backfired. It backfired spectacularly because she stepped up and took mic and said, I will speak. And she spoke back to him. Nobody does that to pastors. I mean, if Oyedepo can slap somebody on the pulpit, that's violence. How many church perpetuates violence in Nigeria? If we are serious, go calculate how many children have died because of church in Nigeria. If we want to do the way the Ireland is finding dead bodies, if we go start with our church body, all the boarding schools, church have gone.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we don't hold them accountable.
When before you speak, let me just say this. We are trying to narrow our conversation to what happens when people try to go home. I know it's limited because we have different experiences, but it's a beginning of a wider conversation about holding the church accountable, or questioning things. If we can't question that, what you are saying, Paul, I always mention that if you go to churches in Nigeria, in the south, and go to the basements of the churches, some closed doors and rooms, what you're going to see there, you'll be horrified. There are a lot of people who have mental illnesses that are locked up in churches in the south, and nobody cares about them. Nobody, they abuse them.
They
So
take advantage of it.
it's a horrible thing. If we can,
Actually, I have my uncle personally suffered that in Ibadan. I have my mother's younger brother. He was chained for 3 days, but I was deep in
for
church.
3 days is small. You're talking about
No,
3
it was
days.
small because he escaped. He played. He tricked them. He tricked them and said, "I believe everything." He started, saying, "I believe in God and I believe in Jesus." So they now took off the shackles and started feeding him. Said they didn't feed him for the 3 days. They were beating him, and then he used that to escape. He's a man who had escaped from Kirikiri in the past. So that man knew how to escape. But I have somebody in Seattle when he was 18 years old. This was when Mark of Christ. If you're in Benin, you know Mark of Christ. The guy is now a bishop. He goes by bishop now. When that fellowship started, his mother converted from Catholic Church to that fellowship, and this guy had comic books, the comic book movies that's big now. He had the comic book, Marvel, DC, loads of them, because he was born in Brooklyn. They took him back to Nigeria when he was like 2 years old. So he had been buying comic book back in the days. This is late 80s into early 90s, like 91, 92. The mother tricked him into that fellowship. They were trying to you need deliverance to cast this demon of reading comic book. So he thought it was a joke. Why are you praying for me for this? And they started beating him. So out of the beating, my guy had to say, okay, okay, yes, I agree, I accept. Jesus is he just confessed whatever. There are people who are getting beaten like that because if you're being flogged, you will say whatever they want you to say.
As we speak. So my hope is that when we start this conversation on something that touches, hopefully, I mean, eventually will touch all of us, we can go into deeper issues, because nobody's speaking for those people who have mental illnesses that are today in our churches, and people think it's normal, it's okay. Nobody's speaking about that. Nobody's speaking about. Go
Can I
ahead.
say something,
Okay, go
please?
ahead. Yeah.
So when it comes to these religions and mental health, I feel like these religions are a big problem and a hindrance to mental health recovery. And the reason why I would say this is, if you remember correctly in the Bible, Jesus was trying to heal someone of what they considered back in the day a man with plenty of spirits called the Legion. Today we would say that person has a mental health disorder, and we would take that person to the well, that's if you live in a developed country, they will either section the person, try and sort the person out, and try and do so. All these things you're seeing in these churches, it's not quite far-fetched. If their Jesus himself could not recognize that this person had a mental health disorder, and instead Jesus is busy having conversations with the demon. Demon is saying, "Oh, don't send me into the abyss. Send me into the pigs." Jesus, and you see the pastors, when they are trying to deliver people from demons, you see them chatting with demon. What are you doing there? Demon will say, we have I am this because Jesus did the same thing. And Jesus also said that greater than what I did is what you will do. So they are copying in the footsteps of their Jesus. Now, if Jesus was in the UK, that when he performed that act, Jesus would have been in jail. You know why? After he sent out the demon from that guy, after chatting, Jesus now sent the legions into the pigs and caused the death of those helpless, harmless pigs. Those pigs did Jesus absolutely nothing. Those pigs were there. Who is going to pay the owner of the pigs? So when they talk about animal rights, you see, Jesus did not practice animal rights. He killed those animals, just killed all of them. So anyway, let me go back to my subject of mental health. When you read the Bible itself is a disservice. Anyone who had issues, that they vilified you, right? They made you look like you had a demon inside of you. I'm so glad that today we have science that can tell us what exactly is happening. They have an imbalance in the head. Maybe a bit of medication, a bit of something, can help. No more legion, drive you out into the pig, go and kill pigs. So I just wanted to just say that religion does not help when it comes to mental health, and it's a conversation we need. All this you see in Nigeria, you see they say it's a madman, it's a mad woman. What is mad there?
All right. So let me book all of you for next week. Wednesday next week, we are going to talk about mental health and religion. So be prepared for that conversation. I really want to hear what you think about that, because Jesus could not have lived in today's world. You couldn't have imagined that Jesus would be 2,000 years ago and be acting like someone who people will think that he is the one that is has issues. Anyway, Okija, welcome to the show. Let's talk about our topic today. Have you gone home or you know stories of people who went home to bury somebody and their experiences with the church? Okay, Jack.
Oh, you guys are sorry. I was supposed to be here, but I was at work. So yeah, it's been I mean, there are so many issues to discuss in religion. Actually, the what's her name? The Afro humanist. Okay, she was talking when I joined. But no, I mean, religion is a big issue in Africa. Like the way I tell people, we bought it. You know, they sold the thing to us, and we bought it. You know, wholesale. You know, we bought it. You know, the hook, the line, and sinker, everything. We bought it. You know, they sold it to Japanese and Chinese. You know, they were like, we don't like this stuff. And with their own culture, they've been able to improve. Yeah, so like there was a time, you know, my mother died a couple of years ago, and actually, you know, because the thing is, I found out my siblings there because you know they know me, they know how I act. So they did tell me a lot of things. It was after the burial they were telling me that I was, you know, fuming. I was so angry. You know, they made I don't go. I was born in the Anglican church, but I stopped going to Anglican church. You know, but they made them pay my due. They said I owe, and they made them pay my due, and they made my my youngest sister.
How much were you owing?
I don't even remember, Rudolph. I was busy working. They were telling me, "Oh, we have to pay this." I'll send them money. So I was I can't remember how much I paid, but I believe it's more than 50,000 naira.
Now, let me say this on behalf of there's a Catholic priest that I was expecting that would join us. Let me say this on their own defense. They were saying that some of you people will leave the church, go to America, go to Lagos, and think that the church will be there serving your parents, and that somebody has to foot the bill. So that's why they have to wait for you when you come home, maybe to bury your parents. That's what actually, I heard from their own angle, you know.
You know, that's not a good. That's not a good. That's not a good angle. I was talking to some people, and some of my, you know, my mates, you know, who left the Anglican church, and one is a pastor somewhere, you know, what Redeemed Church. So I was like, you know, this is our local church, you know. I didn't grow. I was born on the child, reading on the child, but you know, like when we go up to Okija, you know, we'll go to that church. So and I was like, you know, talking to them. I say, okay, now you guys, you don't go to Anglican church. Like personally, if the church would be actually, I don't. Yeah, there are some things I don't want to bring, but I wasn't going to Anglican church, but I gave that church a computer. I bought them printer. That was, you know, like long time ago. You know, and so I didn't have to belong to, but I did because my mother was going there, my parents were going there, so you know I had to do it. And so I was like, you know, talking to some people. They were like, you know, like if the church, you know, wanted us, you know, like you know, we are, you know, children, you know, baptized in this church. Please give us 50,000 naira every year. You know, there's no problem with that. I will do that. But you know, for my mother to die and then you want to task me, that's, you know, that's extortion. That's different. That's not coming from my heart. And so I actually, you know, one guy, they did it to him, and he gave them all the money, you know, whatever they wanted. And then the next day, you know, after the burial, then, you know, they went to whatever, you know, the outing. Then after the outing, the pastor, the reverend came to his house. He was like, he chased them away. He said, no, it's over. It's over. You know, my mother is dead. You know, no more, no relationship between me and you guys. So, you know, these things, you know, if the way, you know, but I'm happy that I heard that in Anglican Church in Nnewi Diocese, that's in Anambra, the new bishop, you know, he's trying to fix all those things and remove all those things because it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, like, you know, hey, $100, I can give them $100 every year for them to run their church, but for them to every day, you know, to task the old women that's in the church, you know, some people, they don't have, you know, they have high blood pressure, they have diabetes, they don't have money to, and this woman, when they go to market, you know, they beg, they, you know, pay this, pay that, pay, how much is the, you know, and I don't even know what they do with it. Okay, like the church I was born in, I was raised in on the church, an Anglican church too. And there was a priest they brought, and that priest, you know, he did he embezzled the, I mean, the church had money. You know, the church had its own building. It had an apartment complex, about, you know, 9 flats or whatever. You know, so he was collecting money from everywhere. So that canon, or what, he was a archdeacon or whatever. He embezzled the whole money. He had a girlfriend. He had a house, somewhere else, and I bought a house. And actually, he bought, land, built a house, or he bought one that was, built. He had cars. He bought cars for his family. So I mean, like, these are people that are coming to church. The money they, those small change, they give to, church, and then he had to, mismanage it. So there is no accountability. The worst is Roman Catholic Church, because I'm friend with a lot of a couple of priests, and I've slept in some parishes, go to visit my friend, and we slept in parishes. It's worse in the Roman Catholic Church. There is no accountability. In Anglican Church, it's different. In Anglican Church, you can have the church committee. After Thanksgiving or whatever, all those collection, the church committee actually will count the money, record it, and then they have someone who goes to the bank to deposit the money. But in Catholic Church, the whole money comes to the priest. They'll count the money, give it to the priest. That's it.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, hold on. Let me ask Blessing. Blessing,
can I say something?
Yeah, Blessing. Yeah, I know you are a Catholic, or was once a Catholic. How is it done in Catholic Church?
Okay, this much I know. Unlike what Okija is saying, it doesn't really work that way in the Catholic Church. No, the whole money does not go to the priest. There's something called the parish council.
Listen, I've used offering money to buy fuel. I didn't have cash at the priest after church. They brought the money back home.
Let Blessing land now. Let Blessing land.
Okay, Blessing, finish up. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, you mentioned in the Anglican Church, you said the Anglican Church was more organized than the Catholic Church. Not trying to make a case for the Catholic Church, but I beg to differ. Okay. If there is anything I admire about the Catholic Church, it is their organization. There are loopholes, yes, but those guys are very organized. A priest cannot just dip hand into the offering box. No, sir, it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. I don't know about where you went to.
Yeah, let's. Can I tell us where you went to? Is it in Okija?
No. I'm not gonna reveal, but I'm talking after experience. Actually, what I witnessed. They brought all even in the Anglican Church, if they bring like fowl, animal, food or whatever, the church committee will just look at it first. They select the one they would sell, and then they give the priest some. But in Roman Catholic Church, everything goes to the priest. This is what I've witnessed.
I mean, sorry, I wanted to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead, Chibuike, go ahead.
Is it everybody that is having a burial, this thing happens to?
Well, from what we're hearing, most people, I've not had anybody reach out to me with good experience, but maybe those that had good experiences, they are not.
I want to say something.
People that have good experience.
Okay, all right.
I have seen.
Okay, Blessing, hold on. I'll come back to you. Blessing is the only one in Nigeria, so I will want to. But say what you want to say before I go to.
Yes, and I want to come to the defense of those who are doing it right. I mentioned, earlier in this conversation about my church, the Church of Christ. If you're a member of the Church of Christ, typically the church will buy the coffin and entertain guests at your funeral.
The church will buy the coffin?
Yes.
Why am I? Where is the church in America?
It's everywhere. It's in Eastern Nigeria. My father was a preacher at the Aba congregation before we moved to Akwa Ibom.
This is good information,
Yeah. Okay. So in the Church of Christ, the church will buy your coffin and entertain guests. There is no requirement. There's no dues.
No Ashebi.
No Ashebi. No, there's no requirement. Nobody will tell you did not pay dues. We take collection on Sundays, and that is what you can afford. We don't tithe. Church of Christ has no tithe.
Wait. Did you guys invent Bitcoin? Where is your money coming from?
The money, and that has been the thing, because I think People panic. People do things in the Bible. If you read the story of the Israelites, they'll divert and want to go do things to cash up, to be like others. And God was always pointing them, go and do the simple things I asked you to do. Church of Christ has universities in the United States. We have,
Basi,
yes,
sorry,
yes.
I'm sorry that I'm saying this. Can you call the complete name? Are you talking about Jesus Christ of the Latter Day Saints? Is that
No,
what you're talking?
Church
Okay,
of
call the name
Christ.
complete.
Church of Christ.
Okay.
Yes. So we have universities here, Abilene Christian College, Florida College, which of them? About two in Tennessee. Everywhere you go to, Church of Christ is very strong. It's in Eastern Nigeria. So yes, we do not take tithes, but we build buildings from
No,
collection.
oh, you no,
And
no,
and
my
and
question.
okay.
Basi, please excuse me. What you are saying is that the revenue that they generate from the universities around the world is what they use to support the members.
No, no.
Okay.
The money they raise from the universities serve the universities. They don't actually. Sometimes the universities even raise monies from members of the church.
Okay.
They have their fundraisers, but they don't
I
take
want to
from
know the church because
collection.
I want to take my old woman there, so when he dies, then they can put a casket. I know the
Please do, please do, please do, please do.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And I want to address this other thing because I think what people are doing in the church, since they have destroyed the tradition of our people, they are trying to use the church, to extort where the traditionalists used to, get money from the people for burial. And that's why you go to, and then some churches, they tell you if you want to come and announce that your parent is dead, you come with a goat for the elders and 5 tubers of yam and a case of beer. I mean, where in the Bible is that? And that's what families used to collect in Ibibio land. I'm an Ibibio man. You go to tell your family that your parent is dead or your grandfather. They'll tell you have certain things to take, goats, this and that. And that's what the church is doing now, because they completely told the people that, okay, that is evil, you cannot do that, you're worshiping the devil if you do that. And then they turn around and then they do exactly these things they preached against.
Yeah, Wayne, thank you so much for bringing this point up. Dominic Andrews has been making some good comments, and one of the things he's talking about, we are seeing influences of culture in churches and vice versa. And he said that when churches don't exploit people financially, that people will give willingly, which
Yeah.
I think is probably what Wayne is getting to now, getting at in future.
Doctor,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. I have a question because the question that Paul asked earlier, I think I'm on that question too. Is this church the church? So this is not the church of Jesus Christ.
No,
It's just the church of Christ.
Church of Christ.
Because the
Go,
church of Jesus Christ is worth $100 billion. They have that
not
money, so I know they
not
can take
Church
care
of
of
Jesus
anybody's
Christ.
burial.
Yes,
Okay,
not Church of Jesus, Church of
so
Christ.
if I need to search up the name, I just need to
Yes.
see how much they have in their bank, because that's one thing people don't realize. Catholic Church has over billions of dollars.
Okay,
I've been to
okay.
Catholic Church. I've been to Catholic Church in Europe. And if you go on the tour of cathedrals that nobody goes to anymore, you see gold from Africa. They literally show you it's in there. So you're like, well, how are you for broke? They're not broke. So, but like, I know there are lots of churches, especially if a church has universities in America, that church is not a poor church. That church has a strong financial backbone.
Let me surprise you. Let me
Okay.
surprise you.
Surprise me, please.
Okay, you can Google it. We do not have a president. We do not have an overseer. Every church of Christ, if it is in Nomungazi or Ikotekpene or Abuja, is autonomous. They don't answer to another church of Christ or a head or some kind of body. So every congregation of the Church of Christ is autonomous, but we relate with each other.
Okay, so the for
And
them, for them,
That's a red flag on its own.
that's how the first century Christian church was.
Raf, all those guys in New York area, can we come together and start one of these Church of Christ?
Uh,
I
sorry.
think that's one of the problem. The Anglican Church and the Catholic Church, that's why they're extorting people in the East. For instance, the church in my village, because in Okija they have about I think maybe more than 10 Anglican churches. Okay, more than 10 Anglican churches, and some like one particular church, they wanted to give them archdeaconry. The church, they were like, no, we don't want. I was like, why don't you guys want? They said because the money they'll be contributing is much. The money that will go to diocese will be much, so they don't have people that contribute that money, so they don't want it. So the Church of Christ, every church is autonomous. They don't do contribution to like a good jail, like police. Each station they
franchise.
Yeah, they report to area commander and the DPO, Roger to area commander, Roger to state commissioner of police to zonal commander. So that's how it is. The zonal commander, the Roger to IG. That's how it works with police force. So that's the way it works in the Catholic and Anglican Church in the East. They they collect from people and they give to
Let me go to Chibike. He has something important to say.
I also have something to say.
Okay, sir. After Chibike, you Chibike, go ahead.
So when I saw the topic of the conversation, I actually called a reverend sister and I asked her if these things happen, like if there's extortion and all that. So what she answered to me was, I'm not quoting her exactly, but just like if you're in a member of an organization like the Catholic Women Organization or Catholic Youth Organization, this won't happen to you. That's actually why I asked you the question before, if this happens to everybody. So
that is not true.
Okay.
That is not true.
Blessing, let him finish, and then Blessing will respond. Blessing is a member of the Catholic Church, so go ahead.
Because if, for example, you're not in any of these organizations or you're not participating in the church, there's no real proof for them to know that you're a member, and a lot of church resources or some church resources are going to go to towards the burial and some other things that have to be done. Because I forgot the things she listed, but she listed quite a few things that have to happen during a burial. And the church also has to exist in order to perform the burial situation. So that might be why they
but also thank you, Chibike, for I try to bring out the perspective of priests because they have their own angle to this. But the issue also is that most families, if you know what they go through before you hear that your loved one is dead, most of them are broke. They owe the hospital, they owe doctors, and that is when you now come back and say to them, you owe 10,000 naira, 500,000 naira because your son is in America, he has never paid his dues for the past 20 years, or now it's time to pay. What do you expect them to do?
But is it only people that their son is in America that they exploit? Or
they do the same thing to local people. They do the same thing to local people. Yeah, it's the same thing. But of course, if you're in Canada like you, they will double the whatever they're demanding.
So I don't think it's exploitation. I don't think it's exploitation like generally.
What is
because it seems like it's consistent. If you're in America or if you're in Nigeria, the same thing will happen to you. So I'm not sure if it's necessary exploitation, and I'm not also sure if it's fine for you not to be a member of the church, but yet still want some of the
the services. That's a good point. That's a good point. But let me tell you what's happening now. A lot of people are basically now hiring people to come and do the funeral and forget about the church. And it's happening every day now.
Yes, and that's where it goes back to what I was trying to say from the beginning. If you believe that, if you're a Christian and you believe in God, then you would want certain graces offered to your loved ones, and those graces are supposed to be for, like, they're not the Catholic Church. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but the Catholic Church will not perform certain graces for people that are not in the church, not because they hate you or anything like that, but like, I think, like, speaking in terms of logic, I'm not sure it's correct, because if you're not baptized or I don't know, I should know that there's a sequence to certain things, and
TBK, the
I
constitution
know
of
they'll
the
not give
church
the
is
last
supposed
right.
to be the Bible,
I know
not
they'll not
the
give.
Bible said
Man,
I
about
don't think
this
if
I
you
thing.
don't
pay
think
well,
a
they'll
priest.
baptize you. They'll
I don't
baptize
think a
even
priest
though
will
you are
give.
dead, and then they come to say mass. If you pay well, so forget
I,
about that. You
I
pay
sorry,
just
well, they
I
do
just
that.
want
Well,
to
I
I
do
just
understand,
want to
but
counter
I don't
what
think a priest will give a last right to somebody that isn't Catholic. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
Don't
but
quote me on
that's
that.
not the issue. The issue is not that they are not Catholic. It's that they are not paid they've not finished paying their due. But wait, hold on, okay, hold on. A blessing. Let's hear from you.
Chibike said something. He said if you were a member of the Catholic Church and you belonged to any of their societies, this fate will not befall you. Please, that is not true. Like I said earlier, my dad was a member of the Blue Army for the longest time. I do not know the time before his death, how active he was. And I can tell you, my dad was not buried by the Catholic Church. He was buried by some random pastor.
So, sorry, I don't know your definition of the longest time. Like, what do you mean by he was
It
in the
does. It
past for the
doesn't
longest
matter.
You what? Let me give you an idea of longest time. Longest time is before he married his wife and after we were born.
Okay, that's enough. A long time. Chibike, is it not?
Can I
Is
give
it
you
long
One week.
enough
not to
for
me to
you?
say.
One week is
It's not
enough.
to me to say. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
go ahead. Go
No, I
ahead.
asked the
Esther.
question.
Esther, go.
I'm just trying to counter
I'm
what you
asking the
said, that
question in case
once you're
anybody
a member,
knows.
you are covered. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The
All
thing
right.
is, you said you do not think it is exploitation. I am tempted to side with you on that. Why we cannot outrightly call it exploitation, because it's across board. They spare no one actually. But it is not also a nice thing. I mean, you lose somebody, you lose a loved one, your faith is supposed to rally around you, comfort you, and then help you bury the dead, be with you, support you. And instead, I gave an instance in my auntie's case. We weren't told to pay anything, but the stress in having to go here, go and inform these people, go and see the parish priest, one day carries him, all these things. This was pandemic. I was going up and down. It was not
So,
funny.
like I said, I called a reverend sister, and what she said, I'm not quoting her exactly, but what she said is basically what she said, that the people that rally around, that are part of these organizations, everybody in the organization will contribute money for the person's burial
When
and
exactly do
for the
they
person's.
contribute the money? When? Because I can tell you, I was the one that planned the funeral. I was the one that planned my
That's
auntie's
why.
funeral. And I can
That's
tell
why.
you, I can tell
That's why
you
I know
for a fact,
it's they be rude.
I can,
I know it's they be rude, but that's why I
excuse
was
me, please,
asking what
I
you
can
mean
tell
by.
you for a fact that the only money we received from the church was after she was buried and they were on their way home. So
That's
is that
why.
support?
Wait,
We
quick
received
question, quick
They
nothing
get
question,
that
until
all.
please.
she was
That's
in
what I
the
was asking
ground.
what you meant
I beg,
by
quick
It
question.
was sort of
by
Quick
reverend
pandemic.
sister.
question.
Because
Okay, hold on,
Quick
hold on,
question.
everybody.
Is this Reverend Sister the most superior Reverend Sister that you asked? Is she like the head of Catholic Church in wherever you are? Because
obviously she's
I
not.
know Reverend
That's why.
Sisters too.
She's
And I
image
can bring
That's
maker.
their
why.
She's the
opinion.
PRO of the church.
Obviously,
PRO of the church, image maker.
So,
I'm not. I'm not trying
so
to. I'm
are
not
you
trying to
spokes?
disappoint doctrine.
The guy,
I'm
don't
not
carry that
saying.
cross. Just don't
I'm
carry
not.
that cross. You're not
I'm
doing a
not
good job with carrying that
saying
cross.
that. I'm not saying that her point is doctrine or anything like that. I'm
Hey,
just trying to say what I heard.
brother man,
The
brother
same
man.
thing. The same thing.
Eh,
Like Rudolph did. He said that he was giving the perspective of the priest.
But you're not even
He
familiar
was
with the
a third
church.
person.
You're not even familiar with the church, and you are carrying
I,
cross for them. So how is
Okay.
that going to
Can
work?
I have a
I
question.
wanted
All
to
right,
say
all right, all right.
something.
Hold on, hold on.
Let me
Esther,
ask
hold
a
on.
question, please.
Okay. Before you, Esther has something to say. Esther, go ahead.
It's this is very heartbreaking listening to all of this is very heartbreaking, because it just goes to show that there is no universality in Christianity.
No.
None can. Every church believes that their own church is the right one. I was listening to Wayne Bassey talking about his church, and I quickly went and Googled about his church. And he said, from what I've looked at here, that the Church of Christ insists that they are the one and only true Church of Christ. And anyone who is not in this Church of Christ, you have to be a member of this church in order to be saved.
Yes.
So if you are not a member of Wayne Bassey's church, you are not saved. The Catholic will come and say, if you are not a member of my own, you are not saved. So now you have to look
I'm
at
not sure that's the
people
position of
like
the
us.
judge.
Wait, hang on. So these churches, we have given them so much power to inflict so much pain on us, especially at the most vulnerable times in our lives. But these churches are not worth their weight in nothing. We have allowed these people to use the religion they preach to us to cause us so much heartache, and to hear our brothers, our sisters defend the nonsense. It's so heartbreaking that even they're trying to tell you, the lady Blessing is trying to tell you her experience. Please don't invalidate that. I don't care what this sister, Reverend sister, that's her cup of tea. She doesn't know what goes on in other places. So people are putting in the chat their experiences at
Yeah.
the hands of these people.
Esther,
Let's not invalidate
yeah,
this,
Esther,
please.
hold on. Esther, hold on. Yeah.
I think I'm going to respond to Esther.
Chibike, hold on. Okay. Someone wrote, Chris wrote that the cousin died and they brought the body to the east, and to my greatest surprise, the Catholic Church, right in her village, demanded for thousands of naira for clearance. And he said right after that, I quit the church. I brought this topic up because it's the impact on people are a lot, and the people in the church. And I talked to Catholic priests before this show, and I thought some of them will come, but at the end, people probably they were watching. They don't want to come out here and try to defend what's going on. And it's not just Catholic Church, even Anglican churches. The point is that we have to do more, especially us. Some of us, most of us who are say you are the elite, you are educated, you are abroad, or we have to do more to not just hold Buhari accountable, hold your governor accountable. The church, whatever organization, whatever has impact in your life, not just for your own sake, for the sake of people who cannot speak for themselves. We can't let it. Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Damages, you just said my mind from what you said. Because at the end of the day, Christ and the 11 that makes him 12, how did they die? How did they preach this ministry? If we want to talk about the ministry, the Bible made us understand no man that is born of a woman is like John the Baptist. John the Baptist died wretched. These people, they suffered for this thing. They didn't make so much money on it. They didn't do anything on it. So when people tell you that you have to bring money to run the church, the Bible that's supposed to be our constitution, you understand, that we'll look into, they don't ask for all these requirements. They don't. The churches, does Christ and the 11 disciples did not cancel anybody when it comes to getting married for wedding and the likes. They did not put anything there. But today, the church hold is so strong, criticize our tradition and our culture, that if you don't do church wedding, which is an European owned culture to some extent, so I don't understand how we do all these things. Then somebody will say, my priest, my pastor, my reverend, my bishop, my GO, and every other thing. But what in the constitution can anybody here that is trying to defend this thing at least even quote from the scripture that this thing happened during the Bible days? How did they bury Mary? How did they bury Martha? How did they bury Esther? Did they pay all these things? Somebody should teach me, educate me. Like they say, you
Please, I
live,
want to
you
add
learn.
something.
Okay,
I
okay.
want to add something.
Blessing, hold on. When say something before Blessing, then.
Yeah, Paul, thank you. I did not come here to evangelize, but Esther, um, besides being a Christian, I'm also a very educated person. I used to have a professor, and when we discuss evolution in class, I used to tell Professor Di Maria, I said, I believe in the talking snake. And he'll say, let's talk as scientists first, and then we'll talk as Christians. I'm a Christian. He's a Catholic. Um, I worship God as an educated person. I read my Bible, and my belief anchors on that. And that's what Paul is trying to say here. That some of these people, they'll quote Jedekbo, all these overseers, and they won't quote the Bible. They cannot reference the Bible for any action they take. Christianity is, to me, a very well-informed lifestyle for me, and I rather, go to my grave with it. I respect your belief, but let's go to church finances. I'm going to hit that hammer again. 4 weeks ago, I was in Nigeria, and this is something I missed because we don't have that here in the United States because, kind of cultural nuances. There were two people in the hospital. At the end of the service, we prayed for them, and the church took a collection, split the money into two, and then they said this group go to visit a brother who was in an orthopedic hospital. The other person was in a general hospital. They took the money, they went. I've never, when I was in University of Uyo, I became a rebel in my family. I went out and visited so many churches trying to find those kind of practices. Love is the center of Christianity. And when people extort people when they are vulnerable, that is not showing love. So we need to, as educated people living in the West, read our Bibles, and then when we go back, we oppose these things and tell the priests, the preachers, the synods of our churches, point to the Bible, show us where this was practiced. Period.
All right. Thank you so much.
So
Blessing, go ahead.
I was going to say something. It is not just about the churches that our loved ones belong to their death. My auntie that I cited as an example, she worked as a teacher in a school owned by a church, a Pentecostal church. All the while she was ill, I was with her in the hospital till she died. They did not come to the hospital. I'll give credit to her, to the members of the charismatic group where she belonged in the Catholic Church. They kept visiting. They supported us with prayer. They would bring gifts. They rallied around us till she passed on. The school she taught in is owned by a church, a very big church in Enugu here. I'm holding myself from mentioning the name. When she passed, I had to go inform the church she worshipped at and the school she taught at. I went to the school, and it's as if she never left. They moved on. It was as if she never left. They had moved on, completely forgotten that they had a teacher that was ailing. When I stated my mission and I was shown to the staff room and I told them why they came, it was a moment of, oh, please let us know what the family is planning. We'll keep in touch. I said, okay. They didn't keep in touch. Matter of fact, when we fixed the date and I tried to contact the school, I was met with a wall. I left them and we proceeded to the burial. This is again why I want to draw Chibike's attention. You said the church will contribute. My dear, the church contributed nothing from
Uh,
the... Please. I am saying it again. The church contributed nothing to the preparation of the funeral. The church contributed nothing. They contributed their presence. Okay, that
All right.
counts for something.
All right.
And gave
Thank
us a parcel when they were leaving. But the school she taught at, it was later on I heard that 2 people from the school came and said they came to say sorry. I don't know if they gave my grandma something. That was the only thing they came. That was their only contribution. So
All right.
while we are trying to talk about grieving families and what the churches are doing to them, we should also look at the effect of these churches have on the larger society to these people when they were alive, not just when they are dead.
Mm.
They lived before they died.
All right, thank
Can
you.
we start from there?
Thank you.
Sorry, let me just respond.
Chibuke, hold on. Ekene, go ahead, Akiza.
Okay, like I mean, one of the issues I have with people is that somehow in discussion like this, people try to like hammer Christianity. Christianity is not the problem. It's just people, people who are supposed to be in charge of the church. Like they are the ones doing this. Like a song, like I was discussing with someone, the people that were like, tight and stuff, you have to pay tithe. I say, but when you go to preach to people, you tell them Jesus is free. Then what kind of 419 is this? Now, then when people join, you say, you have to pay tithe 10%. We should have explained this to the person before the person joined. So they don't say all these things to people. They just, people repent. Jesus saves. It's free. God gave that gift free. Then you enter, you start paying. But again, like the Christian church, the Anglican and the Roman Catholic church, one of the problems they did that they made in the East, in Igbo land, is that they started building big structures and stuff like that, and they started collecting money from people, and now they have to maintain these buildings, and then they have to build tower, build this, get pews, get ceiling fan, all those things. So they started, taking from people. Because I mean, like this guy Basi, I tried to, I don't know much, but I think I've seen one church of God or whatever church of, they have small buildings, where there's something they can manage. But these guys they go and build, giant project. You see that the 25 years they haven't completed a church. They're still building, and I know all these things.
Someone said that the church buildings are never completed. If it's completed, there won't be any need to collect money from anybody.
I mean, we have to go back to the Arrow of God. Arrow of God, Chino Achebe. What happened? There was the Igbos. They do yam festival. The priest has to eat yam before everybody eats the yam. So then when the priest was arrested by the white man, so he didn't go with his because he used to eat one yam every day until he finishes the yam, and then he will announce you can go and harvest your yam. So that was what happened. So he didn't go with the yam. The people didn't come to visit him. So he came back. When he came back, he was like, I have to continue eating the yam. People were like, you spend there many days. We have to go and harvest yam. They said, no, you have to start eating again, from where I stopped. So the people went to the church. The church came. They're like, okay, we can bless you. You go and harvest your yam. So the people left, and that like what I said. All these things we didn't negotiate. We just with our culture has been a culture of giving to gods, give wine to God, give this to God. So we imported that culture and coming to the church, we started doing the same thing. Like we treat the priests as as our fathers treated the traditional priests. So that that's basically the problem. But I mean, I look at it, look at the church in the Bible, the Acts of Apostles, the good church, the example was supposed to be the example. The rich were tasked. The rich, they sold their things to support the church. Actually, what's it? Ananias and Sapphira. I don't know if you guys heard about it. The story. They died because they sold something and hid it from the church. Stephen was, the church. Because the apostles, they found out they were spending a lot of time dealing with charity cases. So they called anointed about 7 people. The deacons. And Stephen was, I think, the head or whatever. It's okay, take care of welfare. Let us concentrate on preaching the gospel. And then the rich people that were in church, they brought out their money and they used the money to take care of the people in the church. For instance, Dorcas in the church was making clothes for the poor people.
All right.
So so these are this is Christian living. That's what Christianity is supposed to be.
Okay. Thank you so much. We
Let me
are
just
running
add
out
an
now.
appendage, Dr. David. Just let me add an appendage.
Okay, go ahead.
During the 2008 economy downturn, the recession of 2008, the owner of Chick-fil-A, he's a member of my church. He went to his local congregation twice. On a Sunday, he got up and said, $3 million for everybody in attendance today. If you're a visitor, you're lucky. They checked $3 million twice in Georgia.
3 million what?
Dollars twice during 2008 recession.
To everybody in the church?
Everybody in the church, all members who were not there, but all visitors who were present.
Google that and let's see if it's
Please Google it.
this is
So how do we something?
When how do you start this church? This is more important.
There's a Church of Christ everywhere. I think somebody said something. We are known by the small buildings. We don't have too many big buildings. I think the biggest Church of Christ building I've been to.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think they mute your mic.
Okay, I found the person. Sorry. All right. Go ahead. Who was talking? When
I was talking. I said we are not known by our big buildings. The biggest Church of Christ building is one at the University of Uyo Church of Christ. The biggest one, and I've been a member of this church all my life. So people need to lay emphasis where the Bible laid emphasis. Help for the people who need help.
All right.
Help for the people who need help. I go to church here on Long Island. During 9/11, they gave us $2 million. The rest of the country, they contributed money. Money we did not. We were looking for people to help, people who were directly affected by the bombings, the terrorist attack at the World Trade Center, and we gave people. I think that money we exhausted them after Sandy. We were buying a washer and dryer for people with remnants of that money we had from 9/11.
Wait. How long have I known you? And you never talked about this your church. You never talked about giving out. It's amazing. Anyway, all right, we have to round up. We have to round up.
Yes, please. Let's wrap it up. But let's go to the basis. When people go to the basis, yes, there's nothing wrong with Christianity. It's how we are practicing Christianity.
Now, it's strange to me that we are discussing what happens after someone died, and nobody has told me here that there is anything you can do after death to improve the situation of that person in terms of what will happen to that person in the afterlife. But yet, we are all being pushed to do certain things. Nobody mentioned, I had this from someone else, that sometimes they approach you and say that the bishop wants to come and bury your parents. Meanwhile, your parents, they've never seen a bishop in their home. But because they think you have the means, they will bring in a bishop to offer you to bring a bishop. And not just that offer you the bishop, they will also say you have to change your plans so that it will fit into the timeline or the calendar of the bishop. So I don't know if anybody had that experience, but it's some of those things that I don't understand. If your parents never met a bishop before, why would you want the bishop to come and bury them? Especially when you know that the bishop being there will not mean that they will make heaven or anything like that, So let's round up, everybody. Just 30 seconds. I'll start with you, Paul.
Yeah, Dr. Damage is just like I said previously. It is funny. My father, I know my father never go to church for many years after leaving the Jehovah's Witness when he moved down to Delta State.
Oh, wait.
Pentecostal church.
Stop. Jehovah Witness. Nobody talked about that. I mean, maybe they are doing something right. We don't even know. So you had experience with Jehovah Witness. Well, why didn't you talk about that?
Yeah, this is how my Jehovah Witness is or was now. It's funny. My father got married to my mom, and my mom father is my dad's senior boss at the office. So that makes my mom had a lot of control. My father couldn't enjoy this African man control of his wife or a woman. So my mom pushed us more to the Pentecostal than going to. We just go to Jehovah Witness whenever there's feast, just to go eat free food. So my dad didn't really have that unanimous control. But after many years, I think the way the Jehovah Witness started changing, the Nigerian factor started coming in a little bit here and there. My father was too Western, so my father had to quit too, you know. So my father was just there. But due to my mom and the surrounding, the church thing and everything, like I said, when my dad died, my in-laws, everybody, they tried to make it big that my father is a upright man and the likes. Everybody come. They celebrate us. They just hack into everything we want. No, they try to tell us, oh, this bishop will not attend at this time if we can push it, that, this and that. I can't really speak much because I was not in tune, but I was shocked. My father's burial was big. But there's something somebody said. Let me borrow that before I leave, please. My dad burial, the family, my dad died 9 years ago. For my father's family, they gave us 200,000, which is a good amount of money back then. Then when my mom died last year, my father's family, they also gave us 250,000 naira. From my mother's side, they gave us 100,000. From the church side, I think my siblings went to sow a seed. They didn't give us anything. It is we that went to sow a seed, you know, but they put me in the dark. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. Shibike, 30 seconds. Round up.
So personally, I feel it's important to be more even-handed in this conversation, because it's easy to just insult Christianity and insult the church and stuff like that. But the church might also have its
Hold on.
reasons for doing
Check
certain
the
things,
amount.
and even if we don't accept those reasons, at least we should at least understand them. Because what may have heard, the reason some of those things happen is because those people might not be members or participating members of that, and they might be taking off some church resources and all that. It's possible that might not be a valid excuse, but at least it should be something that people should understand. So yeah, that's the way like I feel about it.
Okay, thank you, Chibike. Nobody is bashing the church. We just wanted to have a conversation. And on this show, we let everybody say their own mind. We invited some Catholic priests, and I really hope that they will consider next time joining us. I want to hear a different viewpoint. Thank you so much, Chibike. Ekene, go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't, Chibike, I mean, we have to hold people accountable. You know, it's not free money. It's not free money. You know,
yes,
poor people.
I believe everybody should be held accountable.
Yeah. So we have, we should be able to hold them accountable. We should be able to point out what they do. We should be able to, like, you know, some of the mistake, you know, the Western churches, you know, made. For instance, in Boston here, the Roman Catholic Church, they've sold a couple of churches, you know, and they will sell more. You know, build up big edifices. You know, you don't have no strategic planning. You don't think about the future. You just, you know, start, you know, doing stuff, and in the end, you know, when it's difficult, you start trying to take from people. The church should also. It's not only taking. They take so much and they don't do much. You know, a lot of Catholic and Anglican churches. They don't really, like, you know, have a mission to help the poor. Like, I know some of them, like, go to prison or whatever. But even among them, you know, in the church, you know, there are so many people who are poor. There are so many people who don't make it. Like the church, the Anglican church I went to in Onitsha, they built a flat, and but you know, the way they allocated the flat was like, you know, some people that we don't, like, you know, in the church, people who are standing in the church, like a choir master, whatever. So they gave, the families, some of the flats. Thereafter, they started renting it out, to the highest bidder. So something like that, help people who come into the church and help the church, sacrifice their, you help them if they have problems. Not like, take all the time, you don't do anything, don't contribute. That's not the church. The church is supposed to give. The church is supposed to give. If you give, you don't, you will not lack. People will see what you do and they will come and, give you so that they can do more. So
Thank
that,
you.
it's not criticism, but we want them to do better.
Thank you so much. Wayne, round up.
Yeah, I wish Esther was here. I want to respond to something she said.
Mute your mic.
Sorry, Wayne. Go ahead. I think let me. Go ahead.
When it comes to false doctrine, that's what I call them. Is it Zubike? Yes, I'm a Christian. If Christianity was being bashed here, I'll defend Christianity like I have here. But we need to call out something that's wrong. And we've adopted that stance in Nigeria that we don't criticize. Why? Because we always want to take the same advantage when we get in that position. So we do not criticize our governors or our commissioners. Oh, because if my brother is made a commissioner, he steals tomorrow. I don't want anybody to criticize them. People always say, oh, don't question the servant of another. They'll quote that Bible portion. But Jesus said there will be false prophets. There will be those that will appear the last day, and I'll say, I know you not. And we have to call these behaviors out. This is extortion. It has no place in the Bible. I mean, the Bible should show love more than show this kind of callous exploitation of the poor and needy in our society.
Thank you so much. Before Raf ends it for us, there's someone who's been trying to talk to us. Obino. Okay, Obino, welcome to the show. It's noisy where you are. Whenever we let you in, it's very noisy.
Yeah, I'm on transit. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you have something earth-shaking that you want to say that is making you try again and again. So 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds. 30 seconds will be enough. It's about these things about the how the topic you're talking about.
Yeah.
In the church, in the Catholic Church, the base of Jews and all that, some of these groups, and these things were caused by our own people, the congregation, not the priest. It's the people that we go and tell the priest, look, this person is owing us in the group. This person is owing us in the group. So this the congregation will be like, you have to pay all those dues before the burial. But something I was listening to a bishop. I don't know if you know Bishop Godfrey Honor of Soka Catholic Diocese, who is always saying things as they are to the government or whoever you are. He told the people, okay, since you people are complaining, I have spoken to the priest. They should stop, getting all this clearance or telling people to pay. And since you people are the one who always complain, I'm talking to you now, the congregation. If you are going to allow, if you are going to, since this is what you want. But remember that keeping up the church is the people that, bringing all this money to keep up the church. It's just like the Irish people that brought the Catholic Church to us. He says it's the poor farmers that contribute money to help us with all these schools and the churches and the hospitals the Catholic Church built in Nigeria. So he was telling them how they contributed the money. So, and some of us, or some of them go to meeting of Omona, they pay so much. They go to all these clubs and organizations, they pay without any problem. Because at the end, during the period, those people will come as well. But if they are owing the church like 25,000 or 50,000, they will be told to pay and they will be complaining. So he told the church not to pay, and the priest should bury everybody, whether he's owing or not. Whether the person is owing or not, since the person is baptized in the church, that person should be given a befitting burial by the priest. So after a while, he noticed that the youths, they are let's say there are about 200 youths in the church, and registered people are like 100. Then people who are paying their dues are like 50. Then he was saying that people parent, no longer, even people who were paying before, stop paying, their dues and all those things. So he came to the church and was asking the parishioners, what is happening? Then one of them stood up in the church and said, Bishop, you are the cause. He said, well, how am I the cause? He said, you told people not to pay. So how do you want us to be helping in building the church? Where do we get money to be helping in building the church? So all these things, the congregation, the people are the ones who will go and tell the priest, look, this person is owing us in our own group, like let's say Saint Dr. Damage's group in the Catholic Church or Saint Jude. They will say, this guy is owing or this woman is owing. Then they will tell the priest not to bury, that they have to pay, the payment. And I see prison what the bishop was saying.
Okay.
We belong to all this group and we pay. But when it comes to the church,
did the church collapse after that? Did the church fold up?
No, they, some of this money, some of these contributions are used also in running the church and paying and all these, some of the things they pay in the church. The church didn't collapse, but the people stopped paying. Even people who were paying,
yeah, that's
refused to pay.
What happened next? They just start paying again after they
No. This, if you know this bishop, you can check him. I listened to his sermon. That was the last one.
Okay. So it's a current. It's a current thing. It's still happening.
No, it's still happening. No, it's still happening. He went to them and said they blamed the bishop for telling people not to pay. You see, it's our people that is causing this problem, not even the church. It's the people that we tell the parish priest. I was an ex-seminarian, like I said, so I know much of it. Since you said no priest was able to come in, so I know most of these things. I went to seminary school. I served in the church as an ex-seminarian. So some of these questions, like the lady that said the reverend sister told her or him that the church buries the church don't bury, no group buries. What they do is that at the burial they will come and give you, they will give you the bereaved family, they give them money. There is money for people, any person that died in the group, there is money for, there is something they give. They bury, they bring drinks, they bring food, some of them bring food. So they don't bury, the college don't bury people, but the group we help by giving money. Sometimes they give thousands of naira. It depends on the group. Like I know of all these nights of night, they pay so much to their bereaved to the bereaved family. They pay so much money to the bereaved family, like all these knighthood. So then so the Catholic Church don't bury. So according to that sister, I think she didn't get what the Reverend sister, he didn't get the information very well. Then there is another question by Ekene. I have forgotten that thing he said. I have forgotten that thing he said, and the person was arguing about it.
Everything Ekene said should be forgotten. It's not important. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Round up. Help us round it up. We're so far away from the time. Go ahead, Rap.
All right. First of all, thank you for having me here, and everyone watching, don't forget to like the video and share it. So the Bible is not the constitution of the land, especially in a country that's not designated Christian. All churches are guilty and have blood on their hands. If your culture doesn't support accountability, you can't be hiding behind the leaders. The followers today become the leaders tomorrow. You can't dance around accountability. The Church of Christ, I saw some things about them, but it's not today. But everybody has something. Just because someone is good to you doesn't mean that they are good to and for everyone. You are not everyone. The Nigerian syndrome of calling accountability, or when somebody shares their experience, we now say it's automatically bashing Christianity. I will never understand it, but I know it is never applied by the same Christians when it comes to Islam or any religion that you don't tolerate. So ask yourself, why? Why do you do that? I'm not here to tell you that you should leave Christianity. That's between you and yourself. That's not my problem. But all I know is that just because someone was good to me does not mean they are good for everyone. And Christians have been good to me. Muslims have been good to me. Hinduist, Buddhist, I don't know which God is superior, but I know some gods of the Hindus existed long time before Christianity. So no Christian has the right to even tell them that you are above them, because it doesn't make sense. And there are more rich people in India than Nigeria. So that just shows that something is faulty with what you are telling me. So anyway, that's where I will wrap up. And best of luck to people who are the staunch defenders. Keep up defending, but I will still hold you accountable at the end of the day. And if you bite, you say I hold you accountable, it means you are the same people who you are defending. That's the end of it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you.
Just to say something, I think everybody here has enough sense to know that if somebody does something wrong, they should be held accountable. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chibike. Thank you, everybody.
We have to continue this some other day.
Oh yeah, next week we are talking about mental health and the church in Africa. So come prepared. Mental health and the church in Africa. I thank everybody for joining us today. Paul, Chibike, Ralph, Okija, Obino, everybody.
Dr. Damages, try to invite Lost Choosing Mountain of Fire and the Kerubu and Seraphim for
yes,
mental health.
we will promote that ahead of time and invite them. You know, I was expecting a lot of pastors to join us today, priests that actually told me they would join. I think people are shy about talking about these things in public, or maybe they are afraid of kind of backlash. I don't understand, but we have to do it.
I have priests I could have brought. Somebody was in seminary, but if the guy comes here and talk, all
No,
these Nigerians, it will start fire.
He's coming next week. He's coming next week.
No, he can't come. He's not accepted in Nigerian circles.
No, I just invited him. No,
I have the person I know.
Okay. Let him come. So next week on Wednesday, the same time, we are going to talk about mental health and the church, religion in Africa. But again, thank you all for joining us, and I will see you next time.